Nepal's Prime Minister interacts with all lower house members under PR system. Consultation aimed to improve policy making and implementation. Nepal launches second economic survey, 18-sector data drive to map industries, services and institutions. First ever International Wellness Day being observed worldwide today. UN-backed Nepal initiative promotes inclusive and affordable wellness. Iranian military threatens shipping in the Gulf and Red Sea if the US naval blockade continues. Trump says war in the Middle East close to over. India moves to reserve 33% of lower house seats for women. Bill also seeks major expansion of parliament with read-on constituencies. And PSG and Atletico Madrid reach Champions League semis. Arsenal to face Sporting, Bayern to lock horns with Real in tonight's clash. Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai and this is Primetime News coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Across the globe it's 13:15 in London, 20 to 15 in Tokyo and just after midnight in Sydney. Now the news in detail. Nepal's Prime Minister Balendra Shah has held interaction with all House of Representatives members elected under the proportional representation system. During the interaction program held at the Office of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, Singadarwar, the lower house members shared their concerned clusters, issues, challenges and solution measures. According to the Prime Minister's Secretariat, interaction program was aimed at holding direct consultations between the people's representatives and the executive to ensure effective policy making and implementation. The cabinet in Nepal's Gandaki province has been reshuffled following an agreement between Nepali Congress and CPN-UML, with Chief Minister Surendra Raj Pandey making changes to the Provincial Council of Ministers. Under the new arrangement, ministers from both parties were appointed to key portfolios. From Nepali Congress, Jeet Serchan has been named Minister for Finance, Nanda Prasad Neupane as Minister for Energy, Water Resources and Drinking Water, Rekha Gurung as Minister for Social Development, Youth and Sports and Nandu Gurung as Minister for Forest and Environment. From CPN-UML, Govinda Bahadur Nepali was appointed Minister for Physical Infrastructure, Development and Transport, Yashoda Rimal as Minister for Industry and Tourism, Lakshman Pandey as Minister for Agriculture, Land Management and Cooperatives, and Bhim Karki as Minister for Health. The newly appointed ministers were sworn in by Gandaki Province Chief Diliraj Bhatta during a ceremony today itself. Now, the second economic survey has kicked off across Nepal. According to National Statistics Office NSO, the economic survey will be completed by the third week of June and almost 5,000 personnel have been mobilized for the enumeration. The Finance Ministry has urged all to cooperate in the survey since the data of the country's overall industrial entities and enterprises are being collected. Basic information on 18 sectors of the economy will be collected during the survey. This includes details such as the number of industries, enterprises, service providers, cooperatives and both private and public entities, along with their types, employment, production and service delivery. All business entities, large and small, registered and unregistered, will be enumerated and employment data will be recorded. The non-governmental organizations, public corporations, as well as government and private schools and hospitals will also be included in the survey. The last such survey was conducted 7 years ago, which showed that Nepal had over 923,000 institutions and industrial entities. We're going for a short break here. More news coming up. Do stay with us. You're watching NTV World and this is Primetime News. Welcome back. The first ever International Wellness Day is being observed with various programs and awareness activities worldwide following a United Nations resolution initiated by Nepal. The observance is intended to serve as a global platform for education, cultural exchange and knowledge sharing, encouraging people to adopt accessible, inclusive and affordable wellness practices that support both individual and community health. Sabika Shrestha looks more into the day's significance.
In a global first rooted in Nepal's own proposal, the country on Wednesday celebrated the inaugural International Wellness Day, Arogya Divas, a landmark global observance endorsed by the United Nations General Assembly. The day was marked with synchronized programs across all 7 provinces and 753 local levels, highlighting Nepal's growing role in promoting holistic health and wellness worldwide. The celebrations began early in the morning with yoga and meditation sessions in major cities such as Kathmandu and Pokhara. In mountainous and rural regions, communities organized mindfulness-based activities reflecting Nepal's deep-rooted spiritual traditions. Government officials, tourism stakeholders, and health experts gathered at various events, stressing that wellness is no longer a luxury but a necessity and a powerful tool of soft diplomacy. At the heart of the observance was a broader understanding of health. Officials emphasized that true well-being extends beyond physical fitness to include mental, emotional, social, cultural, and ecological balance. It's an approach seen as vital in tackling non-communicable diseases and rising mental health concerns. A yoga instructor highlighted the growing relevance of such practices.
योगले हामीलाई शारीरिक स्वास्थ्य दिनुको साथसाथै मानसिक शान्ति दिन्छ, जसले गर्दा हाम्रो तनाव, एन्जाइटी, डिप्रेसन यी चीजहरुको पनि औषधिको काम गर्छ। यो त अहिले विज्ञानले पनि पुष्टि गरि नै सक्यो। हाम्रो योग शास्त्रमा त धेरै अगाडिदेखि भनिराखेको कुरा हो। जब हामी आफै लागेर राम्रो बनाउन थाल्छौं भने राम्रो नहुने कुरै केही छैन। संसारमा हामीले गरेर नहुने भन्ने केही पनि छैन। यो जे पनि गर्न चाहन्छौं, गर्न सक्छौं भन्ने विश्वास हामीलाई यही योगले दिलाउँछ।
Echoing this sentiment, a lady instructor said, Nepal's global recognition marks a turning point.
नेपाल एउटा आरोग्य प्रधान देश, नेपालले धेरै विश्वलाई दिन सक्छ भनेर यो आरोग्य दिवसको जीवन विज्ञानको पहलमा जुन 42 वटा देशले संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघमा पारित भएको यो आरोग्य दिवसलाई चाहिँ भव्यताका साथ मनाइयो, एकदमै राम्रो छ। त्यसैले आरोग्यलाई जोड्दाखेरि चाहिँ हाम्रो अझ पर्यटनदेखि लिएर हामी आफू पनि स्वयं स्वस्थ र बाहिरी मान्छेलाई पनि हामीले स्वस्थता प्रदान गर्छौं जस्तो लाग्छ, किनभने हाम्रो यहाँको परिवेशै त्यस्तो छ।
A young participant shared a personal transformation through yoga.
मैले सुरु गरेको खासै भन्दा 2.5 महिना भयो हैन। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि कस्तो नि अब यंगस्टरमा त धेरै रिस धेरै हुन्छ नि त। अलि रिस कन्ट्रोल हुने, अलि अघि पछि शान्त हुने, कुनै कुरामा चाहिँ के काम गरिरहेको छु या पढाइको कुरामा चाहिँ जुन चाहिँ फोकस बढ्ने, त्यसो चाहिँ चेन्जेस चाहिँ छ।
Experts highlighted multiple benefits of the initiative, including promoting preventive health care, improving mental resilience, and reinforcing the connection between human health and the environment. Economically, the observance is expected to strengthen Nepal's ambition to become a global wellness tourism destination. With wellness tourism currently contributing around 4% to national tourism revenue, stakeholders believe international recognition will attract longer stays and higher value visitors. As the first International Wellness Day concluded, Nepal sent a strong message to the world that wellness is not merely a concept, but an art of living rooted in its culture and now shared on a global stage. Sabika Shrestha with camera person Samir Thapa reporting for NTV World.
Moving on, the Nepal government has kicked off a nationwide campaign on the registration of vital personnel events aimed at strengthening individuals' legal identity and also ensuring access to state-provided services. The week-long campaign is being implemented across all local levels, including ward offices throughout the country. Authorities said the initiative is aimed at increasing public awareness about the importance of registering personal life events such as births, deaths, marriages, divorces, and migration in the official civil registration system. They added that the campaign is intended to improve the coverage and accuracy of vital statistics while making it easier for citizens to obtain government services that depend on proper documentation. The program aims to promote timely registration of all vital personal events and to close gaps in legal identity documentation, particularly in remote and underserved communities. The festive fervour continues on the second day of Nepali New Year 2083 BS across Nepal. Various vibrant festivals are being observed nationwide with great enthusiasm, including Sindur Jatra and the traditional tongue-piercing ritual festival. In the cultural city of Bhaktapur, streets turned into a sea of red as devotees celebrated Sindur Jatra with vermilion powder, while the tongue-piercing festival showcased the region's enduring cultural and spiritual traditions. Rajina Rai delves deeper.
In Madhyapur Thimi, Bhaktapur, the atmosphere turned deeply ceremonial during the annual tongue-piercing ritual, observed as the part of the Biscuit Jatra celebrations. Local resident Susan Bag Shrestha continued the age-old tradition by piercing his tongue for the fourth time. Before the ritual began, priests performed sacred worship of various local deities, setting a solemn and spiritual tone for the event. In the courtyard of Panch Ganesh temple, Shrestha's tongue was pierced with a 10-inch iron needle. After the piercing, he carried a sacred lamp known as the Mahadeep, an important part of the ritual procession. The procession then continued toward Bagutol, where a key ritual moment took place, the removal of the needle at the Panch Ganesh temple. The ceremony was finally concluded at the Mahalakshmi temple, marking the formal completion of the tradition. Local believes that the successful completion of the ritual brings good fortune to the village, ensures a good harvest, and help prevent diseases. Meanwhile, the people of Madhyapur Thimi also celebrate the vibrant Sindur Jatra, one of the most colorful cultural festivals in the region. Held on the second day of the Nepali New Year, it marks the arrival of spring season and the renewal of life. The Jatra begins with a tradition procession carrying the idols of Siddhi Ganesh, Siddhi Kali and other local deities from the Balkumari temple. As the procession moves forward, the streets of Thimi turn a striking shade of red as thousands of devotees throw vermilion powder, sindur, in the air and over one another in celebration. The festival features continuous procession of deities, accompanied by clouds of vermilion powder, rhythmic dhimi drum performances, and traditional dance. All procession finally converge in the open space in front of Balkumari temple for the concluding ceremony, which is why the festival is also known as the Balkumari Jatra. Rosina Rai reporting for NTV World.
International news coming up next. For now, a short breather. The Iranian military has threatened shipping in the Gulf, the Red Sea and the Gulf of Oman if the U.S. naval blockade continues. The U.S. blockade of Iranian ports began on Monday. The American military said on Tuesday that no vessels had made it through in the first 24 hours, with tracking data showing at least one ship forced to return around. An Iranian commander has said if the blockade continues, Iran will not allow any exports or imports to continue in the three major waterways. Meanwhile, Israel's attacks on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon continue after it held talks with the Lebanese government in the U.S. on Tuesday. Hezbollah has also launched around 30 strikes towards northern Israel, as per latest reports. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has said the war with Iran is very close to being over during an interview with Fox Business's Mornings with Maria show. The comments, due to air on Wednesday, come after Trump said peace talks with Iran could resume later this week, while Israel and Lebanon agreed to launch direct negotiations.
I had to divert, because if I didn't do that, right now you would have Iran with a nuclear weapon. And if they had a nuclear weapon, you would be calling everybody over there, sir. I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over. You know what? If I pulled up stakes right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild that country. And we're not finished. But we'll see what happens. I think they want to make a deal very badly.
Japan's stock market ended higher today, with the Nikkei 225 closing in positive territory, as investors reacted to comments from U.S. President Donald Trump suggesting that negotiations with Iran could resume. Market sentiment across Asia improved broadly, with South Korea also posting strong gains and easing geopolitical concerns. Amid, in fact, easing geopolitical concerns and renewed hopes of diplomatic engagement between Washington and Tehran. In Japan, the Nikkei rose on expectations that a potential de-escalation in tensions could ease pressure on energy prices and global inflation. Analysts said the rally reflected renewed risk appetite after recent volatility linked to Middle East developments. In South Korea, the Kospi surged as investors followed regional gains, with technology and export-driven stocks leading advances. However, analysts cautioned that markets remain sensitive to any breakdown in talks, with volatility likely to persist as geopolitical uncertainty continues. Head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi, has said during a press conference in Seoul that all indicators pointed to a very serious increase in North Korea's capabilities in nuclear weapons production. Grossi said that the country's arsenal was estimated to consist of a few dozen warheads.
In our periodic assessments, we have been able to confirm that there is a rapid increase in the operation of the Yongbyon 5-megawatt reactor. In terms of the production increase, is not easy to calculate without being there, but we consider looking at the external features of the facility that there will be a significant increase in the enrichment capacity in DPRK.
A bill has been introduced in the Indian lower house aimed at ensuring 33% representation for women in the federal legislature through a major constitutional amendment. The proposed legislation plans to expand the current 543-member lower house to 850 seats, including 270 seats reserved for women. Under the proposal, 850 members would be directly elected from states, while 35 members would be selected from federal territories, and seat allocation to be redistributed based on population. Officials said the government intends to have the constitutional amendment passed before the 2029 parliamentary elections. This is the second major attempt to strengthen women's representation following a 2023 constitutional amendment that also set a 33% target, but was not expected to be fully implemented before 2034, prompting the government to introduce a revised framework. Now, after announcing that EU-developed age verification application is ready to go, European Union Chief Ursula von der Leyen has said that the application respects the highest privacy standards in the world, adding that users cannot be tracked. Brussels has been under pressure to come up with more stringent measures to safeguard children online, as several EU capitals move ahead with plans to ban social media under a certain age.
So this app will allow users to prove their age when accessing online platforms, just like shops ask for proof of age for people buying alcoholic beverages in a shop. First, it is user-friendly. You download the app, you set it up with your passport or your ID card. You then prove your age when accessing online services. Second, it respects the highest privacy standards in the world. Users will prove their age without revealing any other personal information. Put simply, it's completely anonymous. Users cannot be tracked.
More international news and sports update coming up next. For now, a short break. United Nations has warned of worsening famine conditions in Sudan as the ongoing conflict continues to drive mass displacement and widespread hunger across the country. Carl Scow, Deputy Executive Director of the World Food Programme, said the war has ravaged livelihoods, uprooted communities and driven millions of people into hunger during a visit to Daba Neira camp in Tawila. He warned that continued fighting is severely restricting access to food, healthcare and humanitarian aid, leaving civilians increasingly exposed to acute food insecurity and deteriorating living conditions. According to UN estimates, the conflict has killed tens of thousands of people and displaced more than 11 million, creating what the world body describes as the largest displacement and hunger crisis globally. Now, families across Sri Lanka marked the Sinhala and Tamil New Year with traditional rituals and auspicious customs, celebrating a period of renewal and cultural heritage. The observances, guided by traditional astrological timings, brought communities together through shared rituals, festive meals and customary practices. They highlighted unity and continuity of tradition. A large gathering, including public representatives, government officials and devotees, also participated in ceremonies held to invoke good health, prosperity and well-being for the year ahead. The time-honored festival continues to strengthen family bonds and reinforce the country's cultural identity. It remains one of Sri Lanka's most significant annual celebrations. Hong Kong hosted an artificial intelligence and robotics fair, highlighting rapid developments in humanoid systems and applied automation technologies. The event featured demonstrations of advanced robots capable of performing complex tasks, including mobility-based operations, interactive assistance, and coordinated physical activities such as boxing and musical performance. Exhibitors showcased how AI-driven systems are increasingly being integrated into real-world service and industrial applications. Chinese robotics manufacturer Unitree Robotics presented multiple humanoid models designed for diverse functions, ranging from showroom navigation and public interaction to safety-related operations such as fire response support. The fair comes amid intensifying global competition in robotics, as companies accelerate efforts to commercialize humanoid systems capable of operating in dynamic and unpredictable environments. Spain's Zoo Aquarium de Madrid has reported the birth of a male Bornean orangutan, a development described as a boost to efforts to conserve the critically endangered species. The infant was born to female orangutan Surya at the zoo, with officials confirming that both mother and newborn are in good condition under close veterinary supervision. Zoo authorities said the birth contributes to international conservation breeding programs aimed at protecting the species, which continues to face severe threats from habitat loss and declining wild populations. The newborn's arrival is being viewed as part of ongoing efforts by accredited zoological institutions to support long-term survival and genetic diversity of Bornean orangutans. And with that, we move on to sports update. Two tightly contested matches in the ongoing Men's Prime Minister Cup today produced narrow finishes. In Janakpur, Tribhuvan Army Club chased down a modest target of 139 set by Lumbini Province cricket team, finishing on 141 for the loss of 9 wickets in 25.2 overs. Despite losing wickets regularly, Army held its nerve in the closing stages to complete a dramatic 1-wicket victory with 148 balls remaining. In Birganj, Madhya Province cricket team overcame Nepal Police Club by 4 wickets, successfully chasing 131 in 24.1 overs. Police was restricted to 130 before Madhya sealed the result with a composed batting effort. Now, Nepali women cricket team has left for Rwanda to play the ICC Women Challenge Trophy Championship. Cricket Association of Nepal bid farewell to the team, wishing them success. The championship, to be held from April 18 to 1st of May, will see participation from Nepal, the USA, Vanuatu and Italy, along with the host Rwanda. Nepali team led by Captain Indu Verma is scheduled to play its first match against the US on 18 April. The second match is slated against Italy a day later, while the third match against Rwanda on April 22nd. Likewise, Nepal will play against Vanuatu on 24th of April, against the United States on 26th, against Rwanda on 28th, against Vanuatu on the 30th, and against Italy on the 1st of May. The team that secures the top position in the competition, which will be conducted on the basis of double round-robin league, will be declared the winner. Now, the second leg of UEFA Champions League quarter-final delivered high drama, decisive victories and controversy as Europe's elite clubs battle for places in the semi-finals. Paris Saint-Germain advanced emphatically after defeating Liverpool 2-0 at Anfield, sealing a 4-0 aggregate win. Ousmane Dembele scored twice in the second half to cap a commanding performance and send the French side through comfortably. In the other match, Atletico Madrid progressed to the semi-finals with a 3-2 aggregate victory over Barcelona. Barca won the second leg 2-1, but its first leg deficit proved decisive, ending its European campaign amid complaints over refereeing decisions. Arsenal faces Sporting in a crucial second leg clash later tonight, while Bayern Munich and Real Madrid is set for a decisive second leg encounter. The quarterfinal second legs will determine the final 4 teams, with semi-final spots at stake as the competition moves towards the final in Budapest. Before wrapping up, here's a look into the top stories this hour once again. Nepal's Prime Minister interacts with all lower house members under PR system. Consultation aimed to improve policy making and implementation. Nepal launches second economic survey, 18-sector data drive to map industries, services and institutions. First ever International Wellness Day being observed worldwide today. UN-backed Nepal initiative promotes inclusive and affordable wellness. Iranian military threatens shipping in the Gulf and Red Sea if the US naval blockade continues. Trump says war in the Middle East close to over. India moves to reserve 33% of lower house seats for women. Bill also seeks major expansion of parliament with redrawn constituencies. And PSG and Atletico Madrid reach Champions League semis. Arsenal to face Sporting, Bayern to lock horns with Real in tonight's clash. And that's it for this edition of Prime Time News. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. Do join us through our social media and also get the latest updates from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai. Thanks for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu. Public Service Broadcasting, PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World. Facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries, where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it.
NTV World, taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands. Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
Shall we start now?
I'll try my best.
Okay. Your best performance, okay?
The most important innings for me would be the Nepal versus Hong Kong game. And I scored 41 runs because that match, it was one step into the World Cup. And for me, I remember going into that game, I thought I'll not hit the ball in the air at all because if I stayed in the crease and scored runs, meant that Nepal had better chances of winning. And those 41 runs in that game would probably be the most valuable innings that I've ever played, where I got run out.
What a wonderful shot.
That every run, if I think of it now, would probably be the time when I took the most pressure during my whole 20 years of career, but those would be the most important runs of my career.
Best Nepali batsman of all time?
It's difficult. Why? Because I have seen a lot of great players, and you look at the current batch of cricketers, meant that everyone's been performing exceptionally well. If I really had to pick one name, just from a talent perspective, who did not play as much for Nepal but was extremely talented, was Sandeep Shrestha. He played few matches for Nepal, but just looking at him, he was so casual at how he played the sport.
I can't agree with you anymore. Best coach you have played under?
If I really had to pick one person, would be Pubdu, because that transformation of Nepal cricket from 11 to 16 while he was here, and we qualifying for the World Cup was an important moment.
Most difficult opponent you have played against?
Obviously, Afghanistan and Nepal always, gets compared. I remember playing Afghanistan's first match in 2005, and then they wanted to become a test playing nation in 2016.
Best bowler you have faced, or the most difficult bowler you have ever faced?
I think Basant Rigmi easily is the best bowler that I played. I keep saying Sandeep played the IPL. He's gone on to play all leagues all over the world. He's been phenomenal. But Basant Rigmi, if let's say had got the platform back in the day from a fast bowler who turned into a left arm spinner, probably the best bowler that I have faced. And at one point he was probably the best left arm spinner and somebody who nobody could hit.
Best upcoming talent?
I think Gulshan Jha, the potential that he has as an all-rounder, and he's left-handed. Obviously, there's a lot more things that he needs to add up into his game, but he has potential to really grow into something.
Best Nepali bowler?
Would be Binod Das. I think he was probably the best fast bowler that I played. I mean, Sompal and Karan have carried the nation's burden for the last 10 years, but Binod Das was probably the best fast bowler.
He was the leading fast bowler in the associate countries at his peak as well. 2014 T20 World Cup qualification or 2018 ODI status?
It has to be the World Cup, and I really can't pick between the two. Why? Because the ODI status is important for the overall setup of how a cricket nation functions at the associate world, but qualifying for the World Cup and playing the World Cup meant that cricket became important to this nation. So I would definitely pick the World Cup.
Best ever performance under your captaincy, Nepal's?
3 matches we played at the World Cup.
14 World Cup.
Because at the global stage, we never played under floodlights. We went into Dubai a week ago. And also when you are young, I think we were a young team. We had no fears. We were a strong unit, backed by good coaching. Whatever that we had, we were happy about it. And that moment where we were presented in front of the world, we did not crumble. Playing against Hong Kong, playing against Afghanistan, and competing against Bangladesh, meant that that is when we made our first significant impact. So those 3 matches would probably be the best performance. But if you go through the Division 5, 4, 3-2 cycle, I mean, every tournament has its own story, and it has been an incredible journey.
Best batsman in world cricket you admire?
Has to be Brian Charles Lara. Got to see him in Nepal as well, so he was a genius.
He was a genius. Best all-rounder in world cricket?
Jack Callis, easily.
All right.
When you look at his batting stats, his bowling stats, there's no comparison to what he has achieved.
Exactly. Best bowler in world cricket all time?
Shane Warne. I'll probably say he's the greatest cricketer that played the sport.
True. You are a big Aussie fan as well?
I follow the Australian cricket team.
Best captain in world cricket all time?
If I really have to go back old school, it would have to be Stephen Fleming. Fleming was a great leader, left-handed batter, and is still coaching the Chennai Super. A great cricket mind, and even Ricky Ponting. If you think of the fact that he had to lead this team of gladiators and had to captain them, Steve Waugh led by examples, Dania. But if I had to pick one person, if it's a name, Stephen Fleming. Although he didn't win championships, but had a lot of respect with everybody around and still does.
Paras, let's sit down now. Let's create Nepal's all-time 11, all formats.
It's going to be difficult.
It's going to be difficult. Let's try.
Sandeep Shrestha is opening. Then you'd probably pick maybe Kushal
Bhurtel. Parishloni opening. Fantastic.
2. Then number 3 would be Gyanendra Malla.
Superb.
Number 4.
Let's try.
Number 4 would be Dipender Singh Airi.
Dipender Singh Airi, of course.
At number 4. Okay. Sarat Bisagar at 5.
5.
Raju Kharka at 6. Then Sakti Gausan at 7.
7.
Basant Rigmi at 8.
8.
Sandeep Lamichhane at 9. Binod Das.
Okay.
And it'll be difficult between Sompal and Karan.
All right.
Because both of them So depending on the format, because both have been great match winners, which means that if it's ODI, I would pick Sompal.
Being diplomatic here.
If it's ODI, I mean if it's T20, I would pick Karan. So that's the playing 11. Sandeep
Shrestha, number 1.
Kushal Bhutel, Gyanendra Malla at 3, Dipendra Singh Eri at 4, Sarad Besagar at 5, Raju Kharka at 6, Sakti Gauchan at 7, Basant Regmi at 8, Sandeep Lamichhane at 9, Binod Das at 10, and 11 would be
either Sompal or Karan. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, all-rounders, please rank. Raju Kharka?
1. Dipendra Singh Eri 2.
All right.
Sakti Gauchan 3.
All right.
Gulshan Jha 4.
All right.
Mehboob at 5. So
Mehboob Alam at 5.
Hello and welcome to The Perspective on NTV World. I am Sabika Shrestha, your host for the weekly current affairs program. Here we pick the major news of the week, unpack its significance and examine how today's decision shaped tomorrow's direction. This week's episode includes a growing standoff over Sunday OPD services and highway delays triggered by global supply shocks. We also look at Nepal's slowing economic outlook, gaps in private health sector compliance, sharp cuts to fuel perks for officials, and a major push towards electric vehicle conversion. Nepal's two-day weekend policy has sparked a dispute in the health sector after the government directed hospitals to keep OPD services open on Sundays. While the Ministry of Health and Population stresses the need for the uninterrupted patient care, the Nepal Medical Association has opposed the move, citing increased overload and lack of rest for healthcare workers. The government says it is working on a balanced system to ensure both continuous healthcare services and the well-being of medical staff. Here's a detailed report. The government of Nepal's decision to implement a two-day public holiday on Saturdays and Sundays for government employees has sparked a dispute in the health sector, with authorities mandating hospitals to continue outpatient department OPD services on Sundays. Following the new policy, several hospitals moved to close OPD services on both weekend days. However, the Ministry of Health and Population directed health institutions to keep OPD services open on Sundays to ensure uninterrupted healthcare access for the public. The move, however, has drawn mixed reactions from the public. Some have supported the government's decision, while a large number of patients argued that hospitals must remain open at all times as it falls under the essential services.
अब सरकारले गरेको निर्णय अनुसार हस्पिटलले ओपीडी बन्द गर्नको लागि त घर मात्रै भनेर भएन नि त मेन पावर चाहियो शिफ्टमा मिलाएर ड्युटी गर्ने भनेको छ तर शिफ्ट मिलाउनलाई त अर्को दिन फेरि यही हेम्पर पर्छ त्यसको लागि त पहिला मेन पावर हुनु पर्यो शिफ्टमा बस्नको लागि पनि नभए त त्यो त भएन नि त सबैलाई समान हुनु पर्यो
हस्पिटलका सीमितताका बावजुद पनि हिजो पनि खोल्न सकेकै हो आइतबार अथवा आज पनि खोल्न सकिन्छ खोल्नै चाह्यो भने खोल्न सकिन्छ अब यसले चाहिँ जबरजस्ती प्राइभेटमा जाऊ बढी खर्च गर भन्ने अवस्थाको सिर्जना गर्छ ओपीडी सेवा चाहिँ 2 दिन लगातार बन्द हुनु हाम्रो जस्तो चलन चल्ती र हाम्रो जस्तो सिचुएसनमा धेरै राम्रो होइन.
However, the Nepal Medical Association, a professional umbrella organization for medical and dental doctors, has requested that the provision of 2-day leave be granted to medical professionals as well. General Secretary of NMA, Dr. Sanjeev Tiwari, said that emergency services have never been disrupted even during the weekends.
नेपाल सरकारले
राजपत्रमै छापेर शनिबार र आइतबार बिदा दिएकोमा नेपाल चिकित्सक सङ्घले यसको स्वागत गरेको छ र स्वास्थ्य तथा जनसङ्ख्या मन्त्रालयले के फेरि निकाल्यो भने हजुरको बन्द नगर्न अनुरोध गर्यो र जनशक्ति पर्याप्त जनशक्ति मिलाएर चाहिँ अर्को दिन बिदा दिनु अथवा सट्टा बिदा दिनु भने यो कुनै हालतमा हुँदैन। हजुरको 48 सालबाट दर दिने थप्या छैन हैन। त्यही भएर कारणले यति नै जनशक्तिले चाहिँ यो नेपाल सरकार स्वास्थ्य तथा जनसङ्ख्या मन्त्रालयले भनेको कुरा चाहिँ गर्न सकिँदैन। अस्पताल कहिले नै बिदा बन्द हुँदैन। आकस्मिक सेवा 24/7 खुला हुन्छ।
The association has also pointed out inconsistencies, noting that while other sectors enjoy public holidays, healthcare workers are expected to maintain full services without adequate staffing arrangements or compensation mechanisms. The ongoing situation, meanwhile, highlights the challenge of balancing continuous public healthcare services with the well-being and capacity of medical professionals as Nepal transitions to a two-day weekend system.
Whereas in Makwanpur, concerns have also been raised over the quality of healthcare as a significant number of private health facilities remain non-compliant with government standards. Weak monitoring and enforcement have been blamed for such negligence, posing serious risks in a sector where lapses can have life-threatening consequences. Here's the story.
The government of Nepal mandates comprehensive health standards focused on quality, safety and equitable access through frameworks such as the National Health Policy 2019. These standards regulate infrastructures, human resources, emergency services, water, sanitation and hygiene in health facilities. However, routine inspections conducted across various healthcare facilities in Makwanpur district, Nepal, have revealed serious concerns regarding public health compliance and systemic negligence. Many private healthcare centers operating in the district were found to be non-compliant with the minimum health services standard. An inspection led by the district administration office, Makwanpur, identified that several hospitals, polyclinics and pharmacies were providing services without meeting even basic requirements. At Sancho Hospital, services were being operated without valid license renewal. The emergency unit lacked essential medical supplies, including medicines, and expired drugs were found to be improperly stored and unmanaged. Similarly, Makwanpur Cooperative Hospital and Ramjanaki Medical Hall were found to be operating beyond their approved capacity of 25 beds, whereas a pharmacy at a city hospital was operating without a licensed pharmacist. Although authorized to sell allopathic medicines, the facility was also found selling Ayurvedic products and cosmetic without proper authorization.
औषधि पसलमा हुनुपर्ने जनशक्ति जसले चाहिँ औषधि बिक्री वितरणको लागि मापदण्ड अनुसार तोकिएको छ त्यो अनुसारको जनशक्ति नभएको कारणले एउटा अस्पतालमा चाहिँ हामीले फार्मेसीलाई बन्द गरेका छौं। उहाँहरूले सचेत पनि गराएका छौं। पूर्वाधारहरू त्यसपछि औजार उपकरणहरू जनशक्तिहरू पुरा गर्नको लागि र त्यसै अनुसार सेवा उपलब्ध गराउनको लागि गुणस्तरीय सेवा उपलब्ध गराउनको लागि हामी सचेत गरेका छौं।
In a sector as sensitive as healthcare, such negligence can pose a serious risk to human life if not addressed promptly through effective government monitoring and enforcement.
Now coming to the infrastructure sector. A crisis in the Middle East is now impacting Nepal's major highway projects, causing shortages of key construction materials like bitumen. This has slowed work on critical routes linking to Kathmandu to eastern and central parts of the country. Aprila Gising Lama takes a look.
A supply shock linked to escalating tensions in the Middle East is disrupting critical infrastructure projects in Nepal, slowing work on key national highways. In central Nepal, construction on the Araniko highway section between Surya Binayak and Dhulikhel, which is an important route linking Kathmandu Valley to eastern regions, has been delayed. The 16-kilometer stretch, being expanded to 6 lanes, is about 67% complete after 3 years of work. Contractors say a shortage of bitumen, a key material used in asphalt, has affected progress. Delays in the supply of bitumen and rising prices have increased construction costs and slowed blacktopping work. Nepal relies on imported bitumen, and disruptions in supply have affected project timelines. Commuters along the Surya Binayak Dhulikhel section are facing dust, mud, and difficult travel conditions. With the monsoon season approaching, concerns are growing over further disruption. Meanwhile, upgradation progress on the Nagdunga-Muglin Road, a major gateway to federal capital Kathmandu, has reached around 50% completion. The route connects the capital to key national corridors, including the Muglin-Narayan Ghat Highway, which links central Nepal to western regions and the Indian border. Contractors report multiple challenges, including shortages of construction materials, restriction on extracting river-based materials such as from the Trishuli River, and obstructions like electricity poles within the road expansion area. Fuel-related disruptions have also affected transportation of materials, due to which the construction entrepreneurs have called on the government to declare construction holiday. Authorities have been urged to facilitate material supply, remove obstructions, and ensure smoother coordination to continue construction work.
Nepal's economy is expected to slow significantly, with growth projected to drop from 4.6% to 2.7% in fiscal year 2026, according to the Asian Development Bank, as both domestic challenges and global pressures, including the Middle East conflict, weigh on the outlook. Siksha Bhattrai takes a look.
Nepal's economic recovery is facing mounting pressure from a convergence of global risks, according to the Asian Development Bank (ADB). For a remittance-dependent economy like Nepal, these external shocks directly affect household incomes, government revenue, and overall growth momentum. ADB Nepal Country Director Arna Kashwa said growth could reach 5.0% in fiscal year 2027, assuming recent shocks ease and the Middle East situation stabilizes. But he warns that recent developments suggest disruptions may last longer than expected.
Nepal has been, as we know, business climate is still not conducive enough for increasing investment, particularly foreign direct investment that will be needed for Nepal to generate the kind of jobs that are required. Energy, of course, is a critical asset for Nepal, and need to continue. There is prospect in hydropower, and prospect not only to secure the energy security of Nepal, which is not completely secured.
Remittances remain a key pillar of Nepal's economy, with a large share coming from workers in Gulf Cooperation Council countries. Any prolonged instability there could reduce job opportunities and slow income flows back to Nepal. At the same time, a temporary slowdown in outbound migration is also limiting remittance growth in the short term. Higher global oil prices are increasing import costs, putting pressure on Nepal's external balance. Tourism, another major source of foreign exchange, is also facing risks, particularly during the peak spring season. ADB projects the current account surplus will widen to 7.2% of GDP in fiscal year 2026, before narrowing to a 5.3% in fiscal year 2027 as import pressures and external risks persist. ADB warns of notable downside risks, including a prolonged Middle East conflict, weak capital spending, financial sector vulnerabilities, and climate-related shocks. Overall, Nepal's outlook reflects a wider global reality. Small, open economies, especially those reliant on remittances and imported energy, remain highly exposed to geopolitical tensions and global price volatility.
Amid this economic slowdown, the government has also moved to tighten spending, sharply reducing fuel allowances for officials, cutting benefits for many civil servants by nearly half as rising global oil prices and fiscal pressure add to the strain. The move comes as the country faces rising global oil prices, fuel supply constraints and growing fiscal pressure. Siksa Batrai with Kamala Aryal brings more.
The government of Nepal has reduced fuel allowances for civil servants and senior officials as part of efforts to curb public spending and manage fuel supply challenges. The Ministry of Finance said the decision was driven by rising international petroleum prices, supply imbalances, and lower than expected revenue collection in the current fiscal year. Spokesperson of the Ministry of Finance stated that the measure aims to ensure efficient use of limited resources while maintaining essential government functions.
अब पेट्रोलियम पदार्थको आपूर्तिमा केही असहजता हुन सक्ने र त्यसको मूल्य वृद्धि यो दुवै पक्षलाई मध्यनजर गरेर अर्थ मन्त्रालयले जुन कार्य सञ्चालन निर्देशिका मार्फत जुन एउटा निश्चित सीमा तोकिएको थियो कुन पदाधिकारीले कति इन्धन सुविधा पाउने भन्ने त्यसमा कार्य सञ्चालन निर्देशिका संशोधन गरेर त्यसमा केही कटौती भएको छ। त्यसले पक्कै पनि यो खर्च मितव्ययिता र मध्यपूर्वले सिर्जना गर्ने सङ्कटलाई चाहिँ केही समाधान गर्न केही सहयोग पुग्ने अपेक्षा छ।
Under new provisions, secretaries and high-ranking officials will now receive 70 liters of fuel per month, down from 125 liters. Similarly, joint secretaries will receive 50 liters, reduced from the previous 100 liters. Fuel allocations for office operations have also been cut significantly. Offices with up to 50 employees will now receive 35 liters of petrol and 50 liters of diesel, nearly half of the previous allocation. Additional fuel will be provided based on staff size, with 35 liters of petrol and 50 liters of diesel allocated for every additional 100 employees. Employees using two-wheelers will now receive only 8 liters of fuel per month, down from 12 liters. However, fuel facilities for ministers and constitutional office holders remain unchanged.
Nepal's economic slowdown is prompting a series of fiscal and energy-related policy shifts, with the government sharply cutting fuel allowances for officials by nearly half as global oil prices rise and fiscal pressure intensifies. At the same time, authorities have approved the conversion of petrol and diesel vehicles into electric under a 100-day action plan aimed at reducing emissions and fuel imports, although concerns remain over high conversion costs and implementation challenges. Here is the detailed story for more.
The government's approval on converting internal combustion engine ICE vehicles into electric vehicles EVs is Nepal's yet another step toward cleaner and more sustainable transportation. For a country that stands as one of the top 5 importers of EVs in the world, the cabinet decision allows older petrol and diesel vehicles to be retrofitted with electric systems. Though the policy-level decision has been done, the nitty-gritties are yet to be cleared. As per existing law, modifying the engine of any vehicle is illegal in Nepal. The cabinet decision has removed the long-standing legal barriers that previously prohibited modifications to a vehicle's original structure. The move is expected to extend the lifespan of aging vehicles while reducing the country's heavy reliance on imported fossil fuels. Targeting high-emission vehicles, the policy prioritizes petrol cars older than 15 years and diesel vehicles over 10 years, many of which were nearing mandatory phase-out. Ministry of Physical Infrastructure and Transport will now develop a detailed regulatory framework within 3 months. The plan includes establishing certified conversion centers, approving standardized EV kits, and ensuring safety and quality control. Officials say the initiative builds on successful pilot projects led by innovators, including the National Innovation Center, demonstrating the feasibility of local EV conversion.
नेपाल सरकारले चाहिँ आइस भेहिकल भन्छ हैन डिजल र पेट्रोलबाट चल्ने सवारीहरूलाई चाहिँ विद्युतीय ऊर्जाबाट चल्ने सवारीमा परिवर्तन गर्ने त्यसले कन्भर्जन भन्छ हैन कन्भर्जन गर्ने नीति चाहिँ ल्याएको छ। अब त्यो नीतिसँग मिल्ने गरी हामीले अब मापदण्डहरू त्यो गर्दाखेरि के प्रक्रिया अपनाउनु पर्ने कसले गर्ने कसरी गर्ने भन्ने कुराहरूको लागि एउटा कार्यविधि जस्तो हुनुपर्छ। त्यो कार्यविधि बनाउनको लागि अब त्यसको लागि विज्ञको टोली हुन्छ, प्राविधिकहरूको टोली हुन्छ, त्यो टोली मार्फत त्यो काम हुने हो। त्यो काम गर्न बाँकी छ अहिले।
However, concerns over multiple issues related to conversion remains to be answered.
पेट्रोलहरु बढिरहेको वातावरणको प्रदूषणको कारणले एकदमै राम्रो छ, तर अलि हिजो साझा बसको 80 लाख रायो भन्ने सुन्दाखेरि अलि बढी खर्चिलो भयो हो कि त्यसलाई मितव्ययी कसरी बनाउने, त्यसको लागि हामी पनि एकदमै इन्ट्रेस्ट छौं। हाम्रो पनि त ठुलठुला गाडीहरु, टोयोटाका गाडीहरु अब 25 वर्ष पुगेर कमर्सियल युज गर्ने गाडीलाई तपाई प्राइभेट बनाउन खोज्दै अलिकति गाह्रो भइरहेको छ। अलिकति मितव्ययी रूपमा आयो भने एकदमै राम्रो स्वागतयोग्य छ।
Nepal is lucky. It's got Dharmendra and Amitabh Bachchan in one. You're two in one. Two superstars in one superstar.
But nonetheless, thank you. Thank you so much. But then tell us more about Sholay.
Once again, Nepali cinema making history on the 9th edition of NIF, Nepal International Film Festival, here on NTV Board with the collaboration NTV World. We just don't have two personalities on a talk show. We have two legends. One is Mr. Rajesh Hamal, the superstar of Nepali cinema film industry, and the other one, who is the blockbuster director, none other than Mr. Rajesh Hamal and Mr. Ramesh Sippi. We are having them here on this Creative Forum talk, only on NTV World.
Mr. Ramesh Sippi ji, good afternoon.
Namaskar.
Namaskar, and welcome. Welcome to Kathmandu.
Thank you.
Is this your first time?
No, this is my third trip.
A third trip. Yeah, it's an absolutely pleasure. Welcome to Nepal once again, you know. Unfortunately, we're meeting at a very tumultuous time. You know, the world is going through. You know, they're hell-bent on destruction and domination. You know, I think the onus lies on the creative people. You know, to spread their good words about collaboration, humanity, human emotions, human value, just to offset the balance.
Absolutely agreed.
Right, and I think we should speak up and then spread our narration through our arts, through our...
Yeah, because you have a voice, you have people listening.
Right.
And you have that command. So whatever you say, it will carry some weight.
Whatever you say will also carry a lot of weight. I haven't met you before, but I, of course, know of you. You have a very illustrious career, illustrious film life that you have spent, and not only you, your father as well. Could you tell us a little bit about you? I mean, most of us know of you pretty well, but nevertheless, can you tell us, like, where you were born, how did it start, and how did your family got into films?
I was born in 1944 in Karachi. And
so before the partition?
Yes. And about 1947, we moved here immediately after the partition. I mean, I was only 3 years old, so my memory is not very sharp on that. But yes, we started out here. My father went into the construction business, buildings.
In Mumbai?
In Mumbai. And it was a very strange time because when he advertised a building and a flat, at that time, you were either a landlord or a tenant. So there was no purchase as such. Purchase in a small way. A big bungalow or a big thing belongs to one person? Yes. Otherwise. Because the people would come there and they would say, this wall, this side is mine, and that side somebody else. Okay. So, it was a very strange way, but he started selling. Then 1951 he made a film called Saza. My father.
Your father did. His good name was G.P. Shippy.
That's right.
Right. He's a very prominent filmmaker as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Devanand, Nimmi, and Shyama. So with these three, he made a film. Because of his construction thing, he kept meeting people from the film line who wanted to buy. Raj Kapoor would come.
How did he decide to get into making films from construction? Because those are completely poles apart.
Because he was selling.
He was making money.
People were making, people were coming there to take so then that's how he got.
Oh, he started off as an investor.
Yes, as investors they came in, and that's how he got into it. Well, after that, I was lucky that he was already in, and I worked for about 8 years from 61 to 69. I was just working on the sets in every department possible. And then in 69, I launched my own film, Andaz.
You didn't do anything else in life before that?
No. I went to London in 61 to do something, to maybe commerce, the college there, but I couldn't get into it. My heart and mind was there, so I rang up my father and I said, can I come back? He did not take even 1 second. He said, sure, if you're not happy, come back. That was...
And the first film that you made, was it because you had the passion for filmmaking, or it was like a family business kind of thing?
Not at all. It was absolutely my passion. Because everybody said, why are you making a film like this, a widow and a widower? You shouldn't make this kind of film here. It may be a nice film, but people won't like it. So
Andaz, I remember, was very well received, especially that song on a motorcycle.
That's right. Zindagi Ek Safar.
Yeah, that motorcycle. I mean, I couldn't sing to save my life.
Yeah, two iconic ones, because that was the theme of the film. Hai na bolo bolo, papa ko mummy se, mummy ko papa se pyar hai. They were both without a partner, and that's how they come together.
So how did that come about? I mean, it was the storyline was a little bit anomaly for its time, and did you come up with this idea yourself? Are you also the writer of your own films, or?
Well, you see films, you're inspired, but there's no direct connection. But just felt that we've seen plenty of films in the normal. Why not try something which is a little different? And that was the reason I said, yes, let's do that. Luckily, it worked. But I'll tell you, in the smaller towns, it was still not accepted.
Oh, because of the storyline.
That storyline. And that told me, listen a bit. So you've got to listen to what people say also. But you've got to take a step forward.
But yeah, so those days, the filmmaker had to be extremely conscious about the social values and things like that, and what they would accept, what they would not accept.
True.
Including how you dress your especially the leading actresses and all that.
Yes.
So that was your first film, Andaz?
That's
and
right.
And that was made in
69. It was released in 1971.
Okay. And then the ball started rolling after that?
Went on to make Sita Aur Geeta. Again,
that was a kind of a maverick work as well. No?
Yes.
Sita Aur Geeta, double role.
Yes.
Were you fascinated with Hema Malini from day one, or?
Well, she was very...
Or did you have a good rapport with her?
Yes,
or?
yes, she was very, very lovely. Very, she was when we were dubbing for Andaz post-production, and I said, "Would you like to play this double role on the mic?" I was telling her. She was inside.
The set of Andaz.
She was dubbing for the end of the film.
So you're offering her another project?
Yes, on the mic. She said, "What? You think I can do it?" I said, "Yes, if you put your heart into it, we can do it." And that's how Sita Aur Geeta came about. Yes, I was very fortunate to have Salim Javed with me. Absolutely brilliant writers. And we moved on. And again, Sholay was a two-line idea. It's all at that time it was an army officer and two cadets, and they were mischievous guys, and so he calls them later in life to help for his personal revenge. We just converted into the police, that's all.
And you did all this at a relatively young age, didn't you? Like you were like in your mid-20s, or?
I was 25 and I started Andaz. Then in Sita Aur Geeta, I was 27, 28. Then 29, I started Sholay.
Sholay you started at 29?
29 and finished in 31. The film was released.
Now that you've mentioned Sholay, you and Sholay are so synonymous, you know, like everybody, when they think about Sholay, they think about you. When they think about you, they think about Sholay. How did that, such a, for its time, it was larger than life. Those days, mostly cinema used to be made in CinemaScope and 35mm, and you went into 70mm. And the storyline was slightly, you know, different as well from your normal Hindi film storyline. And what I can tell by looking at Sholay is maybe there's an element of a Western movie influence in there.
You're absolutely right.
But you gave such an Indian flavor to it that the Indian audience totally lapped it up.
I was always fascinated by the way the Western films were made, and those
You used to watch a lot of Clint Eastwood films?
Yes, first the Clint Eastwood films, then the films like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And all these Westerns gave a wonderful kind of feel at that time. And so it was not easy to adapt to Indian the Western, but because we had our dacoits and they operated in the Chambal Valley.
They could be the baddies, yeah.
And I guess circumstances took them to that point.
But the way you presented the film and the storyline was so amazing and so different from the kind of films that were being made in that era. You know, like the most prominent thing that I would say of Sholay was that you brought every character to life. When people think of Sholay, they definitely think of you as well, but they think of not just the protagonist, they think of all the characters, from Kalia to Mosti to even the horse, the Basanti. They remember everything. So you brought so much of life to each and every character, whether they were doing the leading role or the side role, but everybody had a prominence present in that film. How did you manage that?
From the idea we began with, it turned out to be a very good script. And with that script, while scripting, had a lot of these actors in mind. And very fortunately, all of them agreed to come in. It's very difficult for such a big, so many different actors to come in, big actors. Otherwise, they'll worry what will happen.
Was Amitabh Bachchan ji relatively new during that time, or was he?
He had just started to come up. His film Zanjeer was released after he signed with us for Sholay.
So you got him cheap.
I made up for it in the next film. He said, okay, you got me cheap there, now what are you going to give me here? Okay, so much. Nepal is lucky. It's got Dharmendra and Amitabh Bachchan both in one. You're two in one. Two superstars in one superstar.
But nevertheless, thank you. Thank you so much. But then tell us more about Sholay. How did you do the characterization? How did you come up with the story line?
As I said, I was very lucky to have Salim Javed, who came to me towards the end of the making of Andaz. Halfway through, they joined me, and then Sita or Gita did it. They wrote Sita or Gita. And then, as far as Sholay was concerned, we worked on the script. They had an idea, one-line idea.
Oh, they had it themselves?
Yes, okay. And it was with somebody else who didn't want to make it. Manmohan Desai, I think. He said, this is not my kind of film. So he passed it, passed by, gave a pass to it. So you could take it, and they narrated these two lines. An army officer with two cadets, and he calls them for his. So I think I was lucky that I had these two wonderful writers with me, and we were able to bring together a script which had all these elements in it, and all of us are always inspired by good cinema.
When they were writing, did you tell them that you wanted a Western kind of style to it?
Yes, absolutely.
You told them that?
Yes.
Did you give them any references? Or?
Yes, all these that I told you about, Butch Cassidy, like these two are like the Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, and one of them dies at the end, if you remember Butch Cassidy also.
That was Paul Newman and Robert.
That's right, that's right. So that's how it developed, and it developed well, and all the pieces started falling together, the actors coming in. And then, as I said, I was very keen that I go to a different location. My art director took me down south, and near Bangalore, about 50 kilometers away from Bangalore, was this, all these rocks. The moment I saw them, I said, this is it. The den would be here, and the village would be just close by somewhere, and this is where it could all take place. And then we built a village there.
So how long did the homework take place?
The idea and the thought coming, and we got everyone together, and by the coincidentally, the film started on the 2nd of October, 73, October 2nd.
And then you had such prominent actors in that film. How difficult was it to coordinate them? I mean, how does it work in Indian cinema when you have so many prominent actors and actresses in your set? How does the coordination work? Is it a difficult task?
I think because they were well-defined roles, so there was no real fear that everyone knew, because if you remember the climax of Sholay, one thing leads to the other, and each actor gets to play his part in such a way that if Dharamji, when he moves away for a short while, and Amitabh takes the bullets. So he dies, and then he vows vengeance, and he drives, and he does the climax of killing all of them, right down to when Sanjeev Kumar comes and says, no, this is mine. Gabbar is mine. You leave Gabbar to me, because that was why I called you for this. So it all fell in such a way that everyone had his piece, and everyone was satisfied with what he was doing.
It all felt justified. I mean, you know, no doubt as a maker, you were a maverick when you were making Sholay, but, you know, over the years, how does it feel? I mean, if I may ask you this, that, you know, people usually remember the performance and the performers more than the maker and the director. Do you see a quiet injustice in there? Like, you know, when you talk about Sholay, they remember Gabbar Singh, maybe Viru and what's the other guy's name? Jay and Viru and Hema Malini and this.
Surma Bhopali and...
And over the line, somehow the maker gets sort of like, you know, shattered. Do you see a kind of a quiet injustice in there as a maker?
Well, yes and no, because yes, the credit, but it's very natural as far as an audience is concerned to identify with the actor, because that's who the story is being told through. So they become real life, and they become the real characters. So for them, that is the first thing that hits them. The people behind the scene, yes, okay, but there have been chaos of Mughal-e-Azam and one film, and he's remembered as a, and of course Mehboob Khan, which is Mother India, and so there are a few.
You have left, no doubt, an indelible mark in the Hindi cinema. You will always be remembered. But I was just taking this out because, you know, most of the time when you have big stars and the movie is successful, they remember it as the star's film rather than the maker's film. You know? Whereas initially, the project is the maker's baby, actually. That's where it starts.
I want to make a wonderful film, and if you stand out as an actor, but it's the same thing. We want it to work. We want the people to like it. So I think.
But Sholay, I believe, was not, initially it was sort of like received very lukewarm, like it didn't have a great response.
Again, unfortunately, I have to defer. There was no such thing.
Oh, there wasn't?
No. Headlined disaster. Disaster. Every week. Disaster 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For 5 weeks they hammered that this kind of a film, no way. And because they'd already given it once, taking it back was not easy. But finally in the 6th week, they admitted that yes, it's a big hit. And there is no such thing that, because in the 2nd and 3rd week, people were repeating the dialogues. Right. So in the theater, we knew this is a repeat audience. A repeat audience doesn't come if they haven't liked it the first time. They're not going to come a second time. So that's...
But do you remember around that time, the same time, there was another film that was released with very little budget but did extremely well. I think it was Jai Santoshi Ma, or...
Yes, on the very same day.
Yeah. So what was your reaction to that film? I mean, here you are with a multi-star, with a great budget, you know, larger-than-life presentation film. And there's another film which is low budget and, you know, just comes out and...
As a matter of fact...
And comes out with a bang.
When the trade papers spoke like this about Sholay, they also mentioned that, look at this film, Jai Santoshi Ma. At this budget, it's a blockbuster. And Sholay was demoted. But then, of course, they...
Yeah, but Sholay, of course, lasted much longer, and it's become a history, and it becomes a milestone of Hindi cinema. Rameshji, can you, you've experienced so many periods and so many phases in Indian cinema. You've come a long way. How do you see cinema of today, especially the Hindi cinema scenario of today? How do you look at them?
I think the best way to look at it is today's audiences and their educational levels and their exposure to the world is quite different. So we are seeing a change, but at the same time, we have to remember that we are competing with ourselves on television, on OTT, on all these are a part of the audiovisual entertainment, and yet a lot of people might say today, I would rather sit at home and watch it where it comes on OTT.
So what do you think about the modern technology of filmmaking? I mean, do you take it as a progressive change, or?
Yes, any technology improvements that help and aid a filmmaker should be welcomed. Now, do they take away from you as a maker? I think they're meant to enhance your work. I think anything you think of and you want to do special effects, it's only going to help what your vision is. If it is taken in that light and you do not make the mistake of letting it take over the storytelling or the thrust of the film and the emotions of the film, you don't allow these to be taking over that, then you're okay. You've got to create that balance.
Director used to be like almost 95% in charge of the project. How you're going to film it, how he's going to frame it, how he's going to present it. But now the directors have to work in coordination with so many different technical departments and engineers and special effect people that the share of the director is just limited to maybe just an imagination or the concept of how he wants to do it, and the other people put it together.
But I think, as I said, sensibility prevails, that you try to create that balance between technology and the real thing. And the actors today, if they find there is a good maker, I'm sure you as an actor would be happy to have a good director with you. He can only help and guide a little more. You're going to ultimately take, as you yourself said, he gets the maximum appreciation goes to the actor. So it's as a maker, you just have to just make that compromise in your mind that it is a medium. You can do a lot with it, with all these new technology things. Take it in the positive way and use it to help you. Now, if you have a crowd of horses coming in, and you have 4 horses you use who are good, and you add to those horses, it'll like a herd of
104 horses.
That's it. So the advantage is there if you use it correctly. And if you unnecessarily use technology, you're going to...
If you had the advantage of using this technology while making Sholay, would Sholay would have been any different?
A damn good question, and I don't have an answer.
No, but it's done. It's printed. It's a history, and it's a hallmark. Like, you represent Hindi cinema, and most of the Hindi cinemas are like star-driven, and they're the main attractions, and the unique selling point of a film actually becomes the stars and all that. How important is it, in your view, that does an actor like transform himself or herself completely into a character, or does the actor bring his own essence to every role? Does the part of the actor has to be alive in every role, especially the star-driven, or they can succumb themselves totally into a character?
I think mostly they can. I think a very, very particular character which calls for a change of image, the actor is excited about playing something entirely different, and the director feels that this is an actor who can, because he's such a good actor, he'll be able to deliver in this kind of a role. then they worked together to change that image which was existent before that. But most of the time, it's the image.
I mean, you sort of played in abundance in terms of, relatively, in terms of whether budget or your writers or your technicians. When do you think the creativity actually flourishes? Is it in abundance or in limitation?
When Dharmendraji goes up on that tank, now, it's not exactly word by word what was written for him. Then there was improvisation as well. And it had to be because he's in that mood. So that was a combination of the character as well as the actor and the lines and his performance. And, I mean, it just all came together so beautifully that today it's a scene which is remembered. And that goes for Mr. Bachchan as well.
Does your creativity gets limited if you're working within a limited budget, within limited resources? Does that hamper your creativity as a filmmaker, as opposed to when you have?
Unfortunately, my experience is that I had a budget for Sholay, 1 crore, because my previous film, Sita aur Geeta, cost 50 lakh. So we said, let's be a bit large-hearted, keep 1 crore for this.
But for 73, that was a lot of money. For 1973, that was a lot of money.
Yes, but it went on to cost 3 crores. Because it went on and on. Because I've said this before, but shooting the massacre scene of Sanjeev Kumar's family, the Thakur's family, I started to shoot, and after 2 days, the clouds came and the sun went away. So we sat for a day. In those days, the film was such that you could not do anything about it. You had to get some sunlight. You couldn't match it like you do in post-production, as you say. Correct? So otherwise you could have fiddled with it in post-production. But no. And on the 4th day, clouds again. So I asked the cameraman, because the mind started to work. And the texture of the scene changed. I said, if I do it like this, I'll be able to build that, the little wind, and it changed only in terms of what the, not that the dialogues were changed or anything like that. But the sense of it, the point is it cost me 21 days of shooting because of the weather. I had to wait for the cloudy weather. Then we started to make some thin covers on top to filter, if the sun is there, how to filter it on the sets. Things like that were improvised, and we were able to shoot it. And ultimately, there was no other way but to spend more time and money trying to get what you want.
Right, but did you feel that you were taking a risk in terms of money? Like,
I tried not to think about it.
Right.
And my father never said a word to me, what are you doing? So that's where I was very lucky. He just let me do what I was doing. He had the confidence that I was doing the right thing.
Suppose you've spent so much of money, so much of time, so much of energy into this dream project of yours, Sholay. And if it had failed miserably in the box office,
I wouldn't be here then.
So there is no such thing as like taking things with a pinch of salt and getting up and moving up again. Can that happen to a filmmaker? When a dream project fails,
yes, it can.
And he still retains the energy to continue,
yes,
to stand up and move?
It can happen, but it will affect his confidence also.
Do you know anyone that you know like that in Hindi cinema?
No, I'm sure there must be people who have felt this. People start to abandon you financially, or in different ways. You find even actors then dropping out from projects. These things do happen. It's not.
How much of a burden is it when you lose a lot of money in a film? How much for the maker?
Well, if it's borrowed money, it's carrying interest all the time. There is a certain foolishness when you allow budgets to go that.
How do you look at the progression of cinema making over the years? Because you see, what has happened is with so many different sources of viewing cinema, people have cinema in their own hands. With a click of a button, they can go anywhere. And what it used to be a cinema literacy in those days are available to anyone with a nice smartphone. A 10-year-old would have a cinema literacy of that of, let's say, 70s professional filmmaker, when they talk about long shot, mid shot, focus in, focus out, this and that. All these cinema jargons are used by lay persons today. So is it more challenging to be a filmmaker in this time and age than it used to be before?
I think that will always be there. The challenges were there then. As you said,
every second person in one way or the other is a filmmaker these days. Everybody is creating one thing or the other. Whereas in those days, filmmaking was exclusively the department of the professionals.
Correct.
And they only knew how to do it. If they were talking about editing, the rest of the audience didn't know. If they were talking about, I don't know, long shot, mid shot, focus out, focus, and these are the jargons that the normal people are using it these days. What's dubbing, what's this. So do you think it's a more of a challenge, much more challenging to be a film director in this age and era?
Today, yes, I think it is. But as I said, if you take technology along with you and let it help you in achieving what you want to achieve, you will be able to achieve it in lesser money today because of the special effect. Your knowledge of that technology will allow you to, okay, this I can do. So it can be helpful.
Like I remember, even in the 90s, if you have to picturize, say, the interior of a moving car, that itself was an extreme challenge.
It was.
And now you have so many different types of cameras available, you can do it in a flick of a finger.
Yes, I remember, because after that, when I made Shan, that started to happen. I used to sit on the bonnet of the car, facing the actor behind the wheel, and the co-artist with the actor in front, and you're going through, and the crowds, you have to avoid the crowds because you'll see them. So all these factors were there, and it was very difficult to shoot within the city. And all my work on Shan was in the city, on the docks, in the streets, on those car chases and everything. What would normally have taken 3-4 days to shoot took, again, 20 days, 25 days to get it right.
And the audience were pretty naive about the
difficulties. They don't see the difficulties, they see the end product.
That's why the word, the cinematic liberty used to be very famous those days, because
absolutely
you can fool your audience.
Absolutely correct. You got it.
Which is probably not possible these days, yeah. Yeah, the difference today is that, people want to watch larger than life and extraordinary things on the screen, but at the same time, they demand that it should be believable, even if it is done extraordinarily, larger than life way, the audience still wants to know that it has to be presented in such a way that it's believable. That's
correct.
They don't see any mistakes in there, so it has to be flawless today. And the technology has probably helped that.
That has, yes, it definitely has. But each time, even then, when the back projection came in first, for the first time, that was a technological advance. It did help a lot,
Especially in a moving object, yeah.
Yes. But there you could see technically that it was, if you were very sharp, you could tell it's done on a back projection screen, because you didn't have enough maneuverability. Just the back window, the back glass, the back of the car, the rear glass would allow you to, so your blue screen was behind it. And that's how.
But the general audience had no idea how it's been done.
Yes.
You know? And that's probably what.
Now they all know, as you say.
Now they all know. They know everything about filmmaking. So this is what I feel nowadays. You know, if you're a filmmaker these days, you have to be a notch higher than the average person, because everyone knows about filmmaking. Everybody knows how to make a moving picture. Everybody knows about editing. Everybody knows about how to put, you know, good visuals together. So in order to be a good filmmaker, one has to be a few notches higher than the normal people.
Yes, you've got it right. You hit it on the spot. It is so easy, and they know all about it. So when they see, oh, this must have been done like this, and this must have been done like that. And yet, when the audience comes into a theatre to watch the film, they are ready to watch. It's not, they haven't come there to criticize it. They really want to appreciate it, otherwise they wouldn't spend that 500,000, 1,500 bucks for a ticket. In the days of Sholay, it was 2 rupees, 3 rupees, and 4 rupees.
Don't you think the movie viewing culture has changed drastically? Like those days when you were making Sholay, film used to be actually the cheapest form of entertainment.
Absolutely.
And now it's not so cheap form of entertainment
Not
at all. So how do you see that? I mean, once upon a time, cinema was, you know, accessible to every lay person. A person who labors on the street throughout the day is looking forward to go and watch a film in an air-conditioned movie hall and just have a good time. Whereas today, maybe some of the movie theaters are off-limited to people of certain income groups.
That's true.
So how do you see this transformation?
Yes, but theatres are also doing things now to, you come on a particular day, the ticket is much lower. They have these incentives, or you go there, you get a Coke or a thing extra. There are ways of getting around that. So it makes it a little more easier for certain audiences who would not be able to afford it to come in and get a pleasure of the big screen.
Yeah, this is what I have distinctly noticed. It's not just in India, even here in Nepal. Earlier, when we used to go to the movie hall, the representation was mostly of the average person of that society or that country. But now you go to one of these fancy movie halls in the city, and then you see it's a completely different class of people representing as an audience. That is something distinctly I have noticed over the period of time.
What we do have is most of the screens are like that now. There are a few single cinemas still in existence, and that audience still goes there, and the rates are also lower there. But yes, it's a big problem.
And as far as the content of the Hindi cinema goes nowadays, or the storyline of Hindi cinema, do you think that has gone through changes over the period, like the kind of story you would want to make into a film in the 70s as opposed to now?
I don't think that at its core it's different. You see Dhurandhar today?
Just the presentation has changed a lot.
He's made a wonderful film, but he's used what we are talking about. He's used technology as well as the real thing, and he's made a wonderful combination. But it is all action and blood and gore, and it's been presented in a way that is palatable. And this is a bigger hit than just a family story or a. So this is how.
So that is immutable truth. That's an unchanging truth over the years. The content of the story.
Yes.
The technology might help it to bring it into different scale and different presentation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I guess, cinema is all about human emotions and human expressions.
Yeah.
And human emotions and expressions probably don't change.
And they're
people
forever.
feel the same way.
Yeah, you don't, if you love someone, you love someone. It's not
You're angry at someone, you're angry at someone.
And you're angry, absolutely.
Whether you're a man at 70s or the man of today's age.
Something will take you to that intolerable level. It's bound to.
This is what I always felt, everything is changeable. Like over the years, place might change, cities might change, society might change, but the emotion remains intact, the way our great-grandfather felt when they were in love is the same kind of emotions that we feel today. The way they reacted when they were angry, we react in a more or less same way, So the human emotion is, I think, the only thing which is permanent in this ever-changing world,
Yes, I'm sure most of the people will agree. I have no problem with those who don't. I carry my convictions with myself, and as you would always do for yourself, and each one does for themselves. I think it's fair.
From all this larger-than-life project, how did you get into television all of a sudden? Especially in those days. I mean, Bunyad was in Doordarshan, right?
Yes.
Before the cable television and multi-channel.
Yes.
So how did that come about? I mean, how was that transformation made?
Actually, some of the DD officials at that time suggested to my father, because he had a good rapport with the government, and they said, we've launched this channel, but we need some good material on it. Can you think of something you can... And the writer who had written an earlier...
story revolved around partition, right?
Yes.
India,
What I'm saying is,
partition.
the writer of Bunyad was a writer who had done an earlier film, earlier series. As I got to know that writer, I felt a kind of a pulse that it's going to, this guy knows what he's talking about. So when it was set in partition, and he was able to come up with a script which I liked, and I said, okay, let's go. It was a whole different kind of movie making. It was not movies, it was every episode, if you could leave it on a little...
And you must have shot in video cameras or things like that?
The first 26 episodes I shot on film, 16mm film, and then switched to the videos. Yeah.
And that was, how many series was it? Like how long?
105 episodes.
105. So that's what, like over a year? Over
a year,
over
twice a week. 52 weeks, 104 episodes.
Was that a profitable venture?
Yes,
it was, okay.
It did well. In the beginning, we lost a lot of money, but started to pick up. And because we got into control of the shooting time, and then we were able to bring it out at a fairly commercial kind of income, cost to income, we were able to balance it well.
So that was the only television venture that you attempted?
No, I did one more. After that, I made a film. Then after that film, I did one again for the DD started the morning thing.
The morning segment.
Morning segment. That's where I made something called Kismat. So that was also, that did well. Then later on, went to do a film, a series called Gatha, which was also 100 episodes, just a little bit less than that. But that actually was on Star Plus. Now, Star Plus, the audience was not a DD audience. It was Star Plus had not made a dent in the...
So they were just coming in?
Yes.
Star Plus, okay. And that took the television industry a much higher.
Then Star Plus, once the
you had your
Saas Bahu thing came in.
Yeah, and then you have
it went
ZTV
crazy.
and
Yes,
whatnot,
yes.
and much later after that. Before we part, Rameshji, I mean, we talked a lot about Sholay, but I would also like to talk about your other very, very popular film like Shahan, Shakti, Trishul. These are all yours, right?
Not Trishul.
Not Trishul.
Shahan, Shakti, Sagar.
Sagar, yeah, right, exactly, Sagar. Tell us about that. Sagar is what? Rishi Kapoor and Kamal Hassan ji?
Kamal Hassan, Rishi Kapoor, and
Dimple.
Dimple, yeah.
That was a combination of that time as well, like getting Kamal Hassan from South, and then you have this lover boy image of Rishi Kapoor, and Dimple was she was taking a sabbatical, and you...
Yeah, she did only one film first.
You woke her up and brought her to the set. How did that come about?
Again, we decided, because I like to do each film different from my previous film. So Shakti was a drama, father and son. So
yeah, you brought in Dilip Kumarji with Amitabh Bachchan, which was also another huge step.
And then I felt maybe a love story. Let's think of something which is different. Discussed it with Javed Saab. Unfortunately, they had split at that time, Salim Javed. So Javed, then let's do a triangle, but it was just a thought. It was not a script. It took about a year for that to happen. And then a lot of it was made on the set, in the sets, improvisations and how it would be. Because Kamal Hassan, I found, was an actor so full of himself and he was so right in the way he did things, in the sense, sir, can I do it like this? Only if you feel that it's okay, then I can, and he would do it in a certain way. It was written in a certain way, and he did it a little differently.
As opposed to Rishi Kapoorji, who's very spontaneous and...
Yeah, he's simple. And because his role was like that. But him, he's part of the village, he's jumping around, he's got... So all that energy was his. He brought that extra energy to the character. So that's how actors also do when they make it their own and bring something extra out of it. You got to, and you got to be prepared to accept that as a director. You must. Otherwise, if I had said no, it would have been normal, but it may not have been the performance it was.
Before I let you go, how's life now? What are you doing now? And what do you?
I am thinking of a project, which hopefully, if it all works out in the next month or two, then by the end of the year I might shoot. It's not a big budget or a huge thing, but it's set in a place called Mathura in UP. It's set over there with characters from there. So I think if all works out, then I should be on that.
I wish you all the best. May you have a very long and healthy life and creative life. And
thank you so much.
And don't let your passion go.
That was two cinema legends in one frame, and this is Creative Forum. We'll be back with more shows and episodes. This is me, Suveksha Rajak. Let's leave for another creativity.
What if I told you a story of a place shrouded in mystery and steeped in stones? A place where warriors were born and raised, and their path through the mountains still remain to this day. Ajirkot Gorkha, the unbeaten kingdom.
हामी पाहुनाहरू आउनु हुँदाखेरि हामी यसरी स्वागत गर्छौं अनि अलि नाचगानहरू पनि देखाउँछौं। मेरो सिंह नेपाल गाउँकी गोरखामा गर्व लाग्छ जन्मिएछु साथै स्वर्गमा म त नेपालकी छोरी भन्छन् गोर्खाली। जस्तो घाटु चुड्काहरू भन्ने चाहिँ विशेष गरी हुन्छ यहाँ।
For those seeking a luxurious escape, there are stunning lodges that offer an indulgent retreat amidst the rugged beauty of this place. But for the true adventurers, this place has it all, from trekking through dense forest of Nagepokari trails to exploring ancient temples and learning the rich history of the region. So, what do you fancy? Are you the solo explorer, or do you prefer luxury within nature? Or perhaps you are the one who seeks to witness it all. Well, after all, life is a box of chocolates, and this place is filled with surprises. Welcome to the place where magic and reality intertwine, where the wonders of nature are both breathtaking and awe-inspiring. From the elevations of 300 meters to a towering 8,000 meters, this place will leave you mesmerized and in awe.
Bodies of Palestinians were brought to Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza City following an Israeli airstrike on warehouses housing electricity generators in the Al-Shati refugee camp. Hospital officials confirmed at least 5 fatalities from the strike as emergency teams continued search and rescue efforts in the densely populated coastal area. The attack is part of a series of ongoing strikes in northern Gaza, where local authorities report that civilians, including children, have been among the casualties in recent days. The violence persists despite a ceasefire that came into effect on October 10, with both Israel and Hamas accusing each other of repeated violations. According to Gaza's health ministry, at least 757 people have been killed since the truce began, underscoring the fragility of the ceasefire following more than 2 years of war triggered by the October 7, 2023 Hamas attack on Israel. US President Donald Trump says the war with Iran is very close to being over during an interview with an international media. The comments, due to air on Wednesday, come after Trump said that peace talks with Iran could resume later this week, while Israel and Lebanon agreed to launch direct negotiations.
I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over. You know what? If I pulled up stakes right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild that country. And we're not finished. We'll see what happens. I think they want to make a deal very badly.
Shehbaz Sharif has begun a multi-country visit to Saudi Arabia, Qatar and Turkey amid ongoing Middle East tensions. The trip comes as diplomatic efforts continue following recent US-Iran talks aimed at ending a regional conflict. Sharif is expected to attend the Antalya Diplomacy Forum and hold meetings with key leaders including Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Pakistan has positioned itself as a mediator in the crisis, hosting rare direct talks between Washington and Tehran. The visit also highlights Pakistan's close economic ties with Saudi Arabia, which has pledged financial support to bolster Islamabad's reserves. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says it is highly probable that the United States and Iran will resume talks after weekend negotiations in Islamabad failed to yield an agreement. In remarks to reporters at UN headquarters, Guterres says the indication is that it is highly probable that these talks will restart.
The indication we have is that it is highly probable that these talks will restart. There is no military solution to this crisis. Peace agreements require persistent engagement and political will. Serious negotiations must resume, and the ceasefire must be preserved and extended as necessary.
The United Nations Population Fund says at least 1,355 women in Lebanon have been killed or wounded since Israeli attacks escalated last month. Speaking in Geneva, UN official Anandita Philippos reported that dozens of women and children were killed in a single day of intense bombardment. She warned that thousands of pregnant women urgently need medical care, particularly in southern Lebanon, where fighting remains ongoing. The crisis has also heightened risks of gender-based violence for hundreds of thousands of displaced women and girls. Lebanon's health ministry says more than 2,100 people have been killed since early March, underscoring the growing humanitarian emergency in the conflict. First responders and security forces were deployed after an Israeli airstrike targeted a vehicle in the town of Jaya, south of Beirut, marking the latest escalation in the ongoing conflict between Israel and the Iran-backed group Hezbollah. Lebanese state media reported that at least 2 strikes hit vehicles in the area on April 15 as tensions flared despite a parallel diplomatic effort to ease hostilities. The strikes came just hours after Israel and Lebanon agreed to hold rare direct negotiations, the first in decades, aimed at stabilizing the border region and addressing Hezbollah's role. In response, Hezbollah launched rockets into northern Israel, continuing a cycle of cross-border attacks that has intensified a conflict already responsible for thousands of casualties and widespread displacement. The violence is part of a broader regional crisis linked to the ongoing Israel-Hezbollah confrontation, which escalated in March 2026 amid wider tensions involving Iran and has since drawn international concern over a potential wider war. Thousands of mourners gathered in the western city of Herat for the funeral of victims killed in a recent gun attack at a picnic site. At least 11 people were shot dead when unidentified assailants on motorbikes opened fire near a recreational area beside a Shia shrine. Families described scenes of devastation as bodies were recovered from the site following the April 10 attack. One survivor, Mustafa Akbari, said he lost his father and 2 brothers in the incident. The killings highlight continuing insecurity in Afghanistan, where civilians remain vulnerable to targeted violence despite a relative decline in large-scale warfare. Firefighters battled multiple blazes in Sumy after Russian drone strikes hit an industrial area overnight. Emergency crews worked to contain the fires but reportedly came under renewed attack while responding to the scene. Local authorities said no casualties were reported despite the scale of the damage. The strikes are part of continued Russian aerial assaults targeting infrastructure across Ukraine. The conflict, now in its 3rd year since Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022, continues to strain Ukraine's emergency services and civilian resilience. The head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, has warned of a very serious increase in North Korea's nuclear weapons capabilities. IAEA Chief Rafael Grossi said there are signs of increased activity at key nuclear facilities, including Yongbyon. The country is believed to be expanding uranium enrichment and reactor operations, critical steps in building nuclear warheads. North Korea, which conducted its first nuclear test in 2006, remains under international sanctions over its weapons program. The development raises concerns of further instability in the region amid reports of Pyongyang's growing military cooperation with Russia. The annual Watches and Wonders Geneva has opened in Geneva as global tensions weigh on the luxury goods industry. Organizers expect around 60,000 visitors this year, an increase from last year's attendance despite uncertainty linked to the Middle East conflict. Retailers from key markets in the Gulf and East Asia are facing travel disruptions, raising concerns for exhibitors. Yves Bugman, president of the Federation of the Swiss Watch Industry, described the current environment as highly challenging. The event highlights the resilience of the global luxury watch sector, even as geopolitical instability begins to affect international trade and consumer demand. Hundreds of men in eastern Afghanistan are searching riverbeds for gold dust as economic hardship drives people to informal work. In the Kunar River region, miners dig through rocky terrain hoping to collect small quantities of gold. One prospector, Gul Ahmad Jan, says a week's work can yield about 1 gram, offering a rare source of income. That amount can sell for around 8,000 Afghanis, equivalent to roughly $125. The trend highlights Afghanistan's ongoing economic crisis following years of conflict and international isolation. Real Madrid have completed their final training session ahead of a crucial UEFA Champions League quarter-final second leg against Bayern Munich. The match is set to decide a place in the semi-finals of Europe's top club competition. Players trained intensively as both sides prepared for a high-stakes encounter expected to draw global attention. The fixture renews one of European football's most historic rivalries. The Champions League remains one of the most watched sporting events worldwide, showcasing elite football talent across Europe.
Pokhara is undoubtedly #1 destination for tourists in Nepal. The valley, blessed with natural beauty, attracts domestic and foreign tourists alike. You must have already visited Pokhara. If you haven't or planning another trip, then these are some of the must-go places in Pokhara. The first attraction in Pokhara is the Feva Lake. Boating in Phewa Lake is a ritual for every tourist visiting this paradise. The Tal Barahi temple at the center of the lake adds to the beauty of the place. A round-trip boat ride in Phewa Lake to and from the temple is a feature of both the lake as well as the temple. Separate boat ride, watching the reflection of Mount Machapuchre on the lake and fishing spice up the Phewa experience. The lakeside along the banks of the Phewa Lake is a popular tourist hub. Many tourists in Pokhara choose Devi's Fall as their second destination in Pokhara. The water from Phewa Lake exits towards Seti River through the Gupteshwar cave from this Devi's Fall. The mighty water stream rushing deep down into the gorge, covered by water vapor, is a magical sight. Pokhara is known as the city of lakes and caves. Many of the lakes and caves have religious importance. This is Gupteshwar cave at Chorepatan area. Inside the cave, the idol of Lord Shiva is a well-known pilgrimage. Further inside the cave, one can see the Devi's Fall. Mahendra Cave is another famous place in Pokhara, and nearby is another well-known Chamere cave. Both the caves can be visited together. Two other well-known tourist destinations in Pokhara are Begnas and Rupa lakes. Fresh fish of Begnas Lake is a sought-after delicacy. Rupa Lake is just round the corner beyond a small hill towards the eastern edge of Begnas Lake. Away from the hustle and bustle of the town, Begnas and Rupa lakes cannot be taken out of a tourist's itinerary. This is the famous White Monastery on top of the hill above Phewa Lake. This is also a popular destination for domestic as well as foreign tourists. The top-angle bird's-eye view of Pokhara city from the monastery is a sight to behold. The placid Phewa Lake, the tall mountain range, and the birds like paragliding pilots on the background of Sarankot Hill are mesmerizing. The Bindabasini temple in Pokhara is a famous shrine in Nepal. The best route to visit the temple is on the way to Sarankot. Devotees throng the Bindabasini temple, which is atop a small hill with panoramic view of Pokhara city. The Bindabasini temple is famous among the Hindus across the country. Sarankot is a hill station on top of a hill on the northwestern side of Pokhara. A must-go place to see the majestic Mount Machapuchre and Mount Dhaulagiri in the Annapurna range in front of the eyes, and also the Pokhara and Leknath cities on the other side. Sarankot is synonymous to paragliding in Nepal. Taking off from the Sarankot hill, one can enjoy the panoramic mountain range in addition to the bird's eye view of Pokhara city. ultralight and zip flyer offer a thrill to adventure seekers in Pokhara and are becoming major interests for tourists. Other places, including Swarak in Sangja, have the potential to be world's best place for paragliding. First time in Nepal, Paragliding Accuracy World Cup was held at this place, situated at Mahapur or Virkot municipality of the district. The place drew global attention after the event. Pokhara, famous tourism destination of the country. Majority of locals engaged in tourism industry. The city of lakes and caves, hub of aviation sports. Some major destinations: Lakeside, Feva Lake and Tal Barahi Temple, Begnas and Rupa Lakes, Mahendra Gufa.
As Nepal marks its new year in mid-April under the Bikram Sambat calendar, the year 2082 will be remembered as a period of intense political upheaval. In September 2025, a Gen Z protest movement led to the collapse of the government headed by KP Sharma Oli. As a result, general elections were successfully held on March 5, 2026. The protest began due to long-standing ill governance, corruption, and irregularities fueled by the government's enforcement of the directive regulating social media, requiring unregistered platforms to shut down within 7 days. Protest called by the youth groups on September 8 began peacefully but turned violent later in the day. Security forces opened fire after curfew measures failed to control the crowd, leaving 23 people dead and many injured. The following day, demonstrators carried out widespread attacks and arson, targeting parliament, executive government buildings, and the judiciary. Other key state infrastructure, political party offices, and private residences of political leaders were also damaged in the unrest. The death toll from the incidents of September 8 and 9 later rose to 76. The unrest subsided only after the army was deployed on the night of September 9. The government stepped down within 27 hours, marking the first time in Nepal's history that any administration has fallen in such a short span during protest. Within days, on September 12, the House of Representatives was dissolved. As a result, an interim government was formed under former Chief Justice Sushila Karki, following a recommendation to President Paudel. The interim government was given a mandate to hold elections for the new House of Representatives. Political developments followed rapidly in the changed scenario. Amid pressure following the youth-led movement, established political forces and long-standing parties and structures faced renewed calls for reform. The Maoist Centre and CP and Unified Socialist merged to form a new Nepali Communist Party under Pushpa Kamal Dahal, although some leaders expressed dissatisfaction and broke away. Within major parties, leadership changes also took shape. KP Sharma Oli became party chair again after internal provisions were amended, while Gagan Thapa was elected president of the Nepali Congress through a special convention. They focused their strategy on election-centered activities. At the same time, the interim government prepared for the March 5 elections. Amid preparations for the elections, Kathmandu Metropolitan City Mayor Balendra Shah facilitated a merger between the Rashtriya Swatantra Party and the Bibeksheel Saja Party. In the March 5 elections, RSP won 182 of 275 seats, forming a majority after 26 years. About 78% of new members entered parliament, while Madesh-based parties failed to win seats. Balendra Shah defeated KP Sharma Oli in Chhapa 5. The victory validated RSP senior leader and prime ministerial candidate Balendra Shah to head the government. The cabinet under Balendra Shah has now 16 members, including 6 women, marking 37.5% female representation, the highest since the 2015 constitution, which mandates at least 33% women in state bodies. The newly formed parliament was prorogued after completing key roles, with Dol Prasad Aryal elected as speaker and Ruby Kumari Thakur becoming deputy speaker. As the new government took charge, former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli and former Home Minister Ramesh Lekhak were arrested based on the report of Gen Z Movement Probe Commission and later released on bail. Former minister in the KP Oli-led government, Deepak Kharga, was arrested on money laundering charges, while arrest warrants were issued against Sherbahadur Deuba and Arju Rana Deuba. In political terms, it was a year to remember in Nepal's history, while strides were also made in sports. Nepal qualified for the ICC T20 World Cup 2026 for the second consecutive time and recorded its first ever win against West Indies in the Unity Cup. Nepal's blind women's cricket team reached the World Cup final for the first time. These were home events, but as the global village with supply chain and ripple effects, global tensions also affected Nepal, although minimally, as India remains the main exporter of oil to Nepal. Digital technology use expanded in government, banking, and financial sectors, while the stock market showed an upward trend following the new political mandate. As the new year begins, Nepal enters a new phase following a year defined by political upheaval and systemic change.
People simply observe and take pride in artists and their promotion of Malaysian culture internationally. But nobody cares how they struggle just to survive and maintain their sanity. The waves of stress that are constantly present and how it impedes their creative minds. The life of an artist is like an uneven curve. It never moves smoothly through a straight line. As an artist herself, Shima tries to make her life easy and its journey smooth sailing in a straight line. But this does not happen. After graduating with a bachelor's degree in art and design with a major in pottery and ceramics in 1982, Shima started her own business. She did not only do batik paintings on fabric and other soft materials, but also took part in painting, designing, and production of batik garments. All these activities did not make her happy, and she could not sustain herself financially. Then she decided to concentrate on paintings.
Things that you can comfort with, you can live with it. Because for the beginners, they have to find things, and it's not easy to get all the materials. So first, you have to survive. Second stage, after you survive, you want to find yourself. There's a long way until that you become famous because of something in the painting itself. So it's comfort, because it comes like it's not a day or a month or a year. It's going to be continued, maybe until you die.
Shima has been concentrating her creative works on paintings for nearly 2 decades. Her artworks mainly reflect traditional houses as imagery. She wants to spill the colors of her childhood experiences onto the canvas consciously.
This is from the experience before that you have. You see things. You see something that inspired you, that is the one that comfortable with, so that you just go on with that subject. Like a house is something that we experienced before. We live in those kind of houses, traditional, which is in our childhood. We grown up there, and it's in the memory because we don't have it anymore.
Within the imagery of traditional houses, Shima does not only want to have nostalgic gratification, but also represent Malaysian multiculturalism in her paintings.
If you are Malay, there was the influences in the houses. If you are Indian, there were some images that shows. So this is what all about Malaysian multicultural. We have huge things to explore. It's something about our country. It's something about Malaysia in a way of you create it.
Devotion, patience, tolerance, commitment, and inherent creative capacity are the fundamental qualities of an artist. Being an artist, Shima always feels the challenges of creating a new painting.
I think the challenge is the artist itself. How they going to create good work, good artwork that you can show that to the public. That is the most challenging, because whether the public can accept it or not, and you can think whether you can continue with this career or not.
Once the painting is completed, Shima has a happy moment. It is a kind of great winning.
Happy moment, you've been rewarded. You won something. You've been, like I said, rewarded means whether you winning some contest or you've been rewarded because of your artwork being chosen for some reason of, your painting was in that certain place, which is people are looking up at it.
Being an artist is not always good. On many occasions, Shima has had very bad experiences within her society.
At the first step, you've been ignored because they say that your artwork is not going anywhere. It's very disappointed.
Like Shima, 21 other artists have been working in the artist colony. The colony is a traditional village-based art center where artists from different fields and expertise do their works. There are 11 government-subsidized wakafs, open-air wooden shelters built for artists within the craft complex in Kuala Lumpur. In the village, artists do not only create artworks, but also conduct various educational activities, such as teaching, training, and observational programs.
That's how you get the color, okay? Wherever you do, you up there.
Just a comment on my part.
Every artist working in this village has their own style and creativity. They have been working with different mediums, forms, and compositions. Their different artistic talents create their distinct identity. However, they have a common practice of promoting the Malaysian way of living and culture.
I'm the one who did the painting about art, Malaysian naive art, to promote Malaysia, especially when the tourists come over here, what they can bring back to visit Malaysia while they are on tourism. So to present my country, so they know what is Malaysia they have.
My subject is more to flora and fauna, and this is, as you can see here, this is more to semi-abstract artwork, and I'm really concentrate on texture series, and this is considered my latest series.
It's my painting normally my environment. Normally my family like this. This my family, my son, my daughter look together. The title is together. That's mean well, I create a watercolor on a theme of the mangrove swamps of Malaysia. I travel from north to south just to record all the pictures, all the picturesque view of the mangrove. And back at home, I'll record it on my paper with watercolor.
A lot of Malaysian artists, they use a lot of images from surrounding, like historical buildings, like the traditional costume, something like that. So I think that show that Malaysian art scene, they have their own style.
Artists have their own particular perspectives and viewpoints to observe the surroundings and lives. They are born with certain natural gifts and talents. They also develop exceptionally critical senses. They do recreation of the reality onto canvases. Their artworks are like mirrors that reflect different dimensions of local reality. The tourists, however, prefer local motifs in the artworks.
It's quite interesting to see some modern art. This complex is very interesting because there's a lot of different types of art and craft.
This is very different, and I particularly like her use of colours in the repeated motifs that she's got on display here.
I very like the Malaysian art because this one is very colorful and sketch also very beautiful.
Although the artists have been contributing a lot to promote the Malaysian culture internationally, they are under the wave of extreme stress. They have been struggling with hard times just to survive.
Not enough income to survive, to get the sourcing, like selling the painting, to make you alive. That is the most important in their mind. Besides, they want to produce a good work.
Audience has to have to appreciate Malaysian art more.
Di Malaysia ni dari segi pasaran mungkin belum luas.
To survive as an artist is quite tough at the moment now. It depends on the how you tackle the customer and how they like it your painting or not. That is the only way.
Struggle a lot to keep on survive and keep on doing your work, because many artists you can find they do halfway.
The major buyers of Malaysian artworks are foreign visitors. However, due to severe global economic recession, the official statistics of the Malaysian Tourism Ministry show that the inflow of foreign tourists are very unpredictable. This has immensely affected the sale of artwork. Artists have no choice but to bear the pain.
We have to think about to promote Malaysian art. Malaysian artists have to try to find the funding, so and from that way they can promote themselves. If we want to ask government to help us, in that way also can, but the government have a lot of things to think about, so artists should think their own way. I think like Malaysian government have to must start to collect artwork from the artists, like their government department. They have a lot of department. They have to start to buy artwork.
Artists like Shima are struggling against a dire situation to overcome. After investing their golden age in the field, artists are continuously creating their arts and seeking the support from society. Shima has taken these circumstances as a school of life. She has a strong commitment and beautiful dreams to be the best artist possible.
You have to sell the painting to survive, to get the money to buy the food or to pay any bills. But then when that problem is solved, or you get a way to solve the problem, I think it's going to be, you learn like in a school, but this is not a formal school. It's like a life school. I want to create something of your own brand, of your own mark in your country. You are not being comparing with other artists. That is the most that most artists wanted. But it's not going to be happen in one day.
Artists and artworks are an integral part of any society. Despite the extreme stress on their minds, they document the contemporary history of social reality. They also make many significant contributions to social transformation, critiquing evil elements and innovating new ideas. The life of an artist is never smooth like a straight line. However, one cannot imagine life without art.
Annapurna Circuit Trek features in world's 10 best destinations and adventures. The trekking circuit is the choice of many trekkers as it offers both adventure along with mesmerizing view of mountain ranges. Arguably the best trekking circuit in the world, travelers get up close with dozens of mountains including the Annapurna, Dhaulagiri, Nilgiri. Annapurna Circuit ideally is a 14-day trek. The circuit passes through Lamjung, Manang, Mustang and Myagdi district, including Thorangla Pass as the highest point. Places including Thampus, Ghandruk and Poon Hill are part of this trekking circuit. The revered Muktinath shrine is also part of the circuit. Only foreigners were seen in this circuit few years back, but now domestic tourists are also flocking the area. If you are looking for a lifetime trekking experience, then pack your bags for Annapurna trekking circuit. Mardi Base Camp Trek, also part of the Annapurna circuit, is another alternative route for trekkers who can't afford time. Trekkers can be up close with mountains including the Annapurna range, Dhaulagiri, Machapuchre and Manasalu in this circuit. This 7-day circuit is attracting many trekkers for obvious reasons.
Every dawn begins with a promise. Light will return. For the people of Nepal, the sun is not just a star in the sky. It is an eternal witness to labor, to love, to loss, and to life itself. The scriptures call it Aditya, the giver of vitality, the sustainer of truth. Farmers bow to it before planting their seeds. Mothers pray to it for the well-being of their children. To the people of Nepal, the sun is not a distant deity. It is divinity made visible, and that reverence is best manifested in Chhat. The festival where dwellers of the plains gather to thank both the rising and the setting sun.
This Chhath festival is a Hindu Vedic festival, which is not only celebrated in India and Nepal these days. It has transcended to all the frontiers. Previously, it used to be celebrated in India and Nepal only. But these days, the devotees who belong to Hinduism or from Islamic community, even they are celebrating abroad. Since this festival is the celebration of the nature and it promotes organic way of life, it promotes pollution-free atmosphere and environment, this festival has reached to all the walks of life because it promotes equality. As you could see that the devotees at the same pond, no matter whichever caste or class they belong, they are considered to be equal.
The roots of this festival lie deep in the ancient plains of Mithila, a cultural landscape shared by Nepal and India, where faith, soil, and sunlight have long shaped life itself. From its earliest mention in the Vedas to its celebration today, Chhath has journeyed through centuries and civilizations, changing form, yet never losing its spirit of purity, discipline, and gratitude.
It's a 5-day festival. The first day is called Marua Mas Barnai. Barnai means to refrain from. In that day, the devotees take a pledge to refrain from consuming non-vegetarian food and garlic and onion made food items. And the second day is called Nahai Khai. In that second day, the devotees first take bath, then offer prayers to the sun god, and then consume pure food. The third day is called Kharna, and in that day, the devotees take fast till evening and break the fast with the prasada of kheer and banana. On the fourth day, we could see the Sandhya Argya, that is evening prayers. All the prasada which is offered to the sun god, each and every prasada is offered to the sun god by standing in the waters, and the same thing is repeated in the fifth day, that is called Usa Argya. Usa means the prayer for the rising sun.
The festival unfolds over 5 days, each with distinct rituals and a shared focus on devotion. Families prepare offerings, maintain sacred spaces, and observe fasts while communities gather along water bodies, including river banks and ponds, to offer prayers to the rising and the setting sun. Women play a central role in organizing the rituals and guiding younger generations, while men and children assist in preparations. The collective participation reinforces family bonds and community cohesion, bridging generations in a shared cultural practice.
The women of our part of the world, they do rigorous fasting for the long life of their husband and children. They are at the central role in this festival. छठमा महिलाले मात्रै पूजा गर्ने होइन, पुरुषलाई पनि छठमा जोसुकैले पनि छठमा पूजा गर्न पाउनुहुन्छ. यहाँ कुनै जेन्डरको बायस छैन. तर हाम्रो वुमेन इम्पावरमेन्टलाई कहाँसम्म यसले रोल प्ले गर्दो रहेछ, सस्टेनेबल डेभलपमेन्ट गोल्समै हेर्ने हो भने जेन्डर इक्वालिटी कुरा गर्छ, वुमेन इम्पावरमेन्टको कुरा गर्छ. देयर इज नो युज अफ संस्कृत मन्त्र, देयर इज नो रोल अफ पण्डित, there is no any holy text which will prescribe the modality of the Chhath celebration.
The festival emphasizes the cleanliness of rivers, ponds, and the banks, which are central to the rituals. These practices reflect an understanding that devotion is inseparable from responsibility towards nature. The festival demonstrates how religious observances can reinforce sustainable interaction with natural resources, promote environmental stewardship, and instill awareness about protecting water, soil, and the surrounding environment.
once the Chhath festival concludes, we forget the messages which Chhath festival intends to give. Chhath talks about the pollution-free water bodies, the pollution-free sand, the pollution-free soil, and the pollution-free atmosphere. But the thing is that we often forget these messages. And the governments could uphold these messages if they could come up with certain policies while enlisting this Chhath and or promoting this Chhath festival in the UNESCO or in some other policy mechanism. They could draft some policies, or they could draft some provincial laws which could enlist our water bodies as a natural body.
Chhath also supports local economies and traditional practices. Families rely on only locally sourced fruits, vegetables, and bamboo baskets, while vendors sell traditional items for the festival. Home-prepared offerings and locally produced goods strengthen community livelihoods and ensure that cultural indigenous skills and knowledge are preserved. By linking tradition with practical benefits, Chhath sustains both social and economic aspects of the communities and celebrate it.
This festival could be used as a bridge to connect the people from all walks of life, to connect the people from hill and tarai, to connect the people from each and every community member. So this festival could emerge as a festival of social cohesion. And beyond this, we could unite our community in a bond of equality and in a bond of community spirit.
From Mithila to Kathmandu and beyond, Chhath bridges regions and generations. Its observance in urban centers and abroad shows how cultural traditions can adapt while maintaining the festival's essence. The rituals connect younger generations with their heritage and ensure the continuity of cultural knowledge. The festival continues to adapt to modern contexts while maintaining its historical roots, ensuring that the traditions and responsibilities it embodies remain relevant for future generations.
The Holy Scriptures also talks about Chhath festival. Lord Sita had performed Chhath festival after Lord Rama came from Banvasa. And once Ram Rajya was established, Goddess Sita had performed Chhath for the well-being of Ram Rajya, for the well-being of the Ayodhya people. It's in Ramayana, Sita had performed Chhath, and in Mahabharata, we could see that Kunti and Pandavas, they had also performed Chhath.
Practices become culture, good practices become religion, and Chhath reflects a tradition that transcends boundaries, uniting communities across the Mithila region. In the flatlands, where summer temperatures often exceed 40 degrees Celsius, the sun becomes both sustainer and foe. Yet, despite the intense heat, devotees endure fasting, prepare offerings, and perform rituals with unwavering discipline and reverence. In facing the sun in this way, they demonstrate resilience, faith, and a profound connection to nature, showing that devotion can persist even under the harshest conditions.
कसैले पनि अब व्हिलचेयरमै चाहिँ बन्जी गर्नुभएको छैन?
अहिले चाहिँ आई एम भेरी एक्साइटेड। रमाइलो आउने। यस 2 1 बन्जी।
डिफ्रेन्ट आइडियाहरू हुन्छ हाम्रो, जस्तै अब खुट्टामा लगाएर नर्मली जम्प गर्नुपर्ने, उहाँहरूले चाहिँ हामी बडीमा मात्रै लगाएर जम्प गराउँछौँ।
लेट्स गो।
This is the story of Dilip Sapkota and Sisir Dahal, two wheelchair daredevils who challenged their physical limitations by jumping nearly 200 meters. They weren't just attempting a bungee jump, they were making history by attempting a bungee jump in their wheelchair. The location was the famous The Last Resort, offering adventurous thrill over Bhotekosi River in Sindhupalchok district of central Nepal. From the launch pad, a suspension bridge over the river, a free fall 160 meters down the gorge. This bridge had been the launch pad for the courageous and adventure seekers for years. But on this day, the jump was not just about adrenaline rush, but also about defiance, about breaking the barriers. Dilip, a fierce advocate for inclusive tourism, has spent years pushing boundaries, paragliding, ziplining, even bungee jumping without a chair.
अपङ्गता भइसके पछाडी म आफूलाई कसरी रिफ्रेश बनाउने त, म आफै चाहिँ कसरी ह्याप्पी हुन्छु भनेर आफैले आफैलाई बुझ्दाखेरि चाहिँ मैले घुम्दा ट्राभलहरू गर्दा एडभेन्चरहरू गर्दा अझ म बढी आफै खुसी भएको पाएँ। अनि त्यस पछाडि चाहिँ मलाई बन्जी, मैले प्याराग्लाइडिङहरू गरेँ। प्याराग्लाइडिङहरू गरिसके पछाडि बन्जी पनि गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने लाग्यो अनि मैले बन्जी गरेँ। बन्जी गरेपछि होइन अब यो बन्जीलाई पनि एकचोटि व्हिलचेयरमा पनि बन्जी गर्नुपर्छ हैन। नेपालमा म चाहिँ अपङ्गता भएका साथीहरूले चाहिँ एडभेन्चरकोमा चाहिँ अलिक पछाडि देखिने, उहाँहरू खासै त्यति धेरै एडभेन्चरहरू गर्नलाई, खेलहरू त्यस्तो खेलहरू खेल्नलाई डराउने, यस्तो हुन्छ उस्तो हुन्छ भन्ने उहाँहरूको चाहिँ मेन्टालिटी पनि थियो र त्यो मेन्टालिटीलाई पनि चिर्नुपर्छ। मैले यो सकिन्छ, हामीले पनि खेल्न सक्छौँ, गर्न सक्छौँ र एउटा चाहिँ समावेशी पर्यटनलाई पनि यो एउटा वकालत पनि हुन्छ। नेपाल सरकार लगायत सम्बन्धित निकायलाई यो वकालतको पनि एडभोकेसी पनि गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने उद्देश्य राखेर मैले चाहिँ बन्जी गरेको।
Sisir, an agricultural entrepreneur living with spinal paralysis, has turned his challenges into advocacy.
म अनेस्टली भन्नुपर्दा यो चाहिँ पुरै अनप्लान्ड नै हो हैन। जति पनि मेरो लाइफमा म जति पनि एडभेन्चर अथवा उ गर्छु हैन, त्यति धेरै प्लान गरेर चाहिँ गर्दिम भनेपछि गर्दिम भन्ने टाइपले चाहिँ यसको लागि चाहिँ म विशेष धन्यवाद हाम्रो दिलीप सरलाई म दिन चाहन्छु है। उहाँले मलाई थाहा नै नदिकन ल आज जाम भनेर भन्नुभयो। मैले आज भोलि हामी बन्जी जम्प गर्दैछौँ भनेर हिजो दोलालघाट आइपुगेपछि, हामी काठमाडौँबाट हिँडेको मान्छे दोलालघाट आइपुगेपछि थाहा पाएको। सो अब गरौँ न त, आइसक्यो भनेर चाहिँ हैन एउटा अनुभव पनि हुन्छ लाइफमा। हामी जस्तो अपाङ्गता भएको व्यक्तिले पनि गर्न सकिन्छ है भन्ने टाइपले हैन। अनि त्यहाँबाट अरूलाई मोटिभेट गर्नलाई साथसाथै अब आफ्नो पनि एउटा रिफ्रेसमेन्टको लागि चाहिँ अब आज हामी बन्जी जम्प गर्न जाँदैछौँ।
Together, the goal was clear: to inspire thousands and redefine what people with disabilities can achieve. A wheelchair bungee jump was no ordinary feat. It demanded innovation, precision, and absolute commitment. The team designed a secure rigging system, checked every bolt and knot, ensuring the wheelchairs and harnesses could withstand the extreme forces.
सेटअप अब खासै त्यस्तो डिफ्रेन्ट त होइन, उहाँहरूको अब स्पेसल अलिकति समस्या भएर त्यो अनुसारको सेप तरिकाले गर्ने अर्को डिफ्रेन्ट आइडियाहरू हुन्छ हाम्रो। जस्तै अब खुट्टामा लाएर नर्मली जम्प गर्नुपर्ने, उहाँले चाहिँ हामी बडीमा मात्रै लाएर जम्प गराउँछौँ। सो खुट्टामा चाहिँ केही पनि प्रेसर पर्दैन, ढाडमा पनि कम प्रेसर पर्छ। सो त्यसरी गर्दा चाहिँ उहाँलाई एकदम कम्फर्टेबल हुन्छ। अनि प्लस अब उहाँले अब तल गएर तान्नुपर्ने हुक गर्नुपर्ने कुराहरू हुन्छ, सकेसम्म उहाँहरूले ट्राई गर्नु भएन भने हामी एकजना रेस्क्यु स्ट्यान्ड बाई हुन्छ। अनि त्यसको लागि चाहिँ हामी अलिक प्रिपेयर गरेर गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ। अब सेफ्टीको हिसाबले अलिकति डिफ्रेन्ट तरिका चाहिँ अपनाउनु पऱ्यो हामीले।
This was not a stunt, it was proof that adventure can be made accessible.
34औं अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय अपाङ्गता दिवस हो। सो यो अपाङ्गता दिवसकै दिनमा चाहिँ के एउटा चाहिँ एडभेन्चर गरौँ हैन। अब कसैले पनि अब व्हिलचेयरमै चाहिँ बन्जी गर्नुभएको छैन, त्यसको लागि पनि एउटा चाहिँ पहिलोचोटि गर्दिएर अरू साथीहरूलाई पनि एउटा चाहिँ इन्करेज गरौँ भन्ने चाहना हो खास।
At the edge of the platform, silence fell. Dilip rolled forward first. The count began.
Happy International Disability Day, all of you.
A symbol of confinement transformed into a vessel of freedom, probably the first ever wheelchair bungee jump in Nepal.
Promax bungee! खासै अहिले चाहिँ पुरा म नर्मल चाहिँ एकदम चिलमा छु हैन। अब यहाँ हामफाल्दाखेरि चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ, म हामफालिसकेपछि चाहिँ अनुभव सुनाउँछु। अहिले चाहिँ आई एम भेरी एक्साइटेड। आई एम गोइङ टु डु समथिङ फर माइसेल्फ हैन। आई एम गोइङ टु डु माई फर्स्ट बन्जी अफ माई लाइफ। So I'm very excited.
Then came Cecir's turn. With equal determination, he embraced the drop.
Well, let's go.
His leap cemented the moment, not a solo feat, but a shared victory.
Yes. उहाँले आर यु रेडी भन्नुभयो। मैले ठिक छ म रेडी भने मैले आँखा चिम्म गरिदिएँ। अनि त्यसपछि ठ्याक्कै उहाँले 1 2 3 जम्प भन्नुभयो। उहाँले पुस गरिदिनु भयो मलाई। म पुस गरेको आँखा चिम्मको चिम्म तल पुगेपछि ठ्याक्क त्यो डोरीले तान्छ नि, तानेर माथि आएपछि त्यो समय चाहिँ मैले यस्तो फिल गरेँ कि म बाँचेँ हैन। मसँग अब चाहिँ सबै चिजहरू मसँग फेरि पनि छ र मलाई चाहिँ एकदमै आनन्द त्यो टाइमको त्यो 2 सेकेन्ड 3 सेकेन्डको एउटा चाहिँ ह्याप्पिनेस, एउटा त्यो रिफ्रेस, एउटा त्यो फिलले चाहिँ एकदमै ह्याप्पी दियो क्या मलाई। इनर्जी भित्रदेखि मसँग भइरहेको सिद्धिरहेको एउटा चाहिँ इनर्जीलाई ठ्याक्क दियो। त्यो झर्दाखेरिको चाहिँ मेरो माइन्ड पुरै रिसेट भइदियो जस्तो भयो क्या। केही पनि छैन, म एकदमै एकदम निल, मसँग केही पनि छैन, रित्तियो सकियो। मैले सबै चिज छोडिदिएर म झरिसकेको थिएँ, हाम फालिसकेको थिएँ। तर पुगेर ठ्याक्क तानेर ल्याउँदाखेरि चाहिँ त्यो एउटा मुभमेन्ट चाहिँ मेरो लाइफको चाहिँ एकदम इन्जोयफुल मुभमेन्ट हो, जसले चाहिँ मलाई चाहिँ आजको दिनसम्म अझ धेरै उत्प्रेरणाहरू जगाएको एउटा मुभमेन्ट हो। त्यो मुभमेन्ट चाहिँ मेरो लागि एकदम मेमोरियल पनि छ।
Dilip and Cecir's jump was more than a thrill. It was a loud scream demanding change, a call for accessible tourism.
एक्सेसिबिलिटी कै कुराहरू हुन्छ क्या हजुरको। जस्तो अब मैले पोखरामा प्याराग्लाइडिङ गर्दाखेरि, कायाकिङ गर्दाखेरि हैन, अप्पर मुस्ताङ चाहिँ हजुरको चाहिँ त्यो अफ रोड गाडीमै जाँदाखेरिको कुराहरूमा चाहिँ अलिकति एक्सेसिबल, अलिकति हामीलाई चाहिँ पहुँचयुक्त चाहिँ ठाउँहरू भएदेखि अलिकति सजिलो हुन्थ्यो भनौँ न। अब यो झोलुङ्गे पुलहरूबाट गरिन्छ हैन, त्यहाँ चाहिँ हल्का ऱ्याम्प के जस्तो व्हिलचेयरकै लागि पनि एउटा स्ट्र्याप राख्दाखेरि त काठको एउटा भनौँ न त्यो फ्लोरिङ जस्तै टाइपले गरिदियो भने त हेल्प गर्ने, असिस्ट गर्नेलाई पनि सजिलो हुने अनि हामीलाई पनि सजिलो हुने चाहिँ हुन्छ।
Commission formed to probe assets of political and bureaucratic elites, wealth accumulated since 2006 to be investigated. Nepal launches second economic survey, 18 sector data drive to map industries, services and institutions. First ever International Wellness Day being observed worldwide today. UN-backed Nepal initiative promotes inclusive and affordable wellness. Iranian military threatens shipping in the Gulf and Red Sea if the US naval blockade continues. Trump says war in the Middle East close to over. India moves to reserve 33% of lower house seats for women. Bill also seeks major expansion of parliament with redrawn constituencies. And PSG and Atletico Madrid reach Champions League semis. Arsenal to face Sporting and Bayern to lock horns with Real in tonight's clashes. Good evening, I am Sarah Sapsanamarai and this is NTV World News Hour coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepal time. Now the news in detail. Nepal government has formed a 4-member commission to investigate the property of political and high-level government officials in the period of last 20 years, that is since 2006-7 to 2025-26. The cabinet meeting held today decided to form the commission and will collect details on the property of those public officials, politicos and bureaucrats and launch investigation accordingly.
सर्वोच्च अदालतका पूर्व न्यायाधीश श्री राजेन्द्र कुमार भण्डारीको संयोजकत्वमा पूर्व न्यायाधीश श्री पुरुषोत्तम पराजुली, पूर्व न्यायाधीश श्री चण्डीराज ढकाल, पूर्व प्रहरी नायब निरीक्षक श्री गणेश केसी र चार्टर्ड एकाउन्टेन्ट श्री प्रकाश लम्साल सदस्य रहेको विक्रम सम्वत 62-63 देखि हाल 82-83 सम्म सार्वजनिक पद धारण गरेका प्रमुख राजनीतिक पदाधिकारी तथा उच्च पदस्थ कर्मचारीको सम्पत्ति विवरणको संकलन, प्रमाणीकरण तथा छानबिन गर्न सम्पत्ति जाँचबुक छानबिन आयोग गठन गर्ने। 2082 भदौ 23 र 24 गते घटेको घटना जाँचबुझ गर्न गठित जाँचबुझ आयोगले पेश गरेको प्रतिवेदन कार्यान्वयनको सम्बन्धमा सुरक्षा संयन्त्रको हकमा अध्ययन गरी सिफारिस गर्न उच्च अदालतका पूर्व न्यायाधीश श्री प्रेमराज कार्कीको संयोजकत्वमा सशस्त्र प्रहरी बलका पूर्व प्रहरी अतिरिक्त महानिरीक्षक श्री सुबोध अधिकारी र नेपाल प्रहरीका पूर्व प्रहरी अतिरिक्त महानिरीक्षक श्री टेक प्रसाद राईको सदस्य रहेको समिति गठन गर्ने।
Meanwhile, the Office of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers has directed all ministries to submit details of all vehicles under their departments within office hours tomorrow. The second economic survey has kicked off across Nepal today. Basic information on 18 sectors of the economy will be collected through the survey, according to National Statistics Office. This includes details such as the number of industries, enterprises, service providers, cooperatives and both private and public entities, along with their types, employment, production and service delivery. The last such survey was conducted 7 years ago, which showed that Nepal had over 923,000 institutions and industrial entities. We will look more into this in our segment cover story later in the bulletin. International Wellness Day was marked today with various programs. The United Nations, at Nepal's initiative on March 10, 2026, declared April 15 as International Wellness Day. The United Nations said the day aims to promote awareness and action for holistic well-being, encouraging accessible and inclusive wellness practices. It also highlighted the growing role of the wellness sector in supporting sustainable development goals through job creation, poverty reduction and sustainable growth. We will delve deeper on this in our issue of the day segment later in the bulletin. Now, Iranian military has threatened shipping in the Gulf, the Red Sea and the Gulf of Oman if the U.S. naval blockade continues. A commander has said if the U.S. creates insecurity for Iran's commercial vessels and oil tankers, Iran will not allow any exports or imports to continue in the 3 major waterways. The U.S. blockade of Iranian ports began on Monday, with the American military saying no vessels had made it through in the first 24 hours, with tracking data showing at least 1 ship forced to turn around. Meanwhile, Israel's attacks on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon continue. after it held talks with the Lebanese government in the US on Tuesday. Hezbollah has also launched around 30 strikes towards northern Israel as per latest reports. A bill has been introduced in the Indian lower house aimed at ensuring 33% representation for women in the federal legislature through a major constitutional amendment. The proposed legislation plans to expand the current 543-member lower house to 850 seats, including 270 seats reserved for women. Under the proposal, 815 members would be directly elected from states. 35 members would be selected from federal territories, with seat allocation to be redistributed based on population. This is the second major attempt to strengthen women's representation, following a 2023 constitutional amendment that also set a 33% target, but was not expected to be fully implemented before 2034, prompting the government to introduce a revised framework. Now, the second leg of UEFA Champions League quarter-final delivered high drama, decisive victories and controversy as well, as Europe's elite clubs battle for places in the semi-finals. Paris Saint-Germain advanced emphatically after defeating Liverpool 2-0 at Anfield, sealing a 4-0 aggregate win. In the other match, Atletico Madrid progressed to the semi-finals with a 3-2 aggregate victory over Barcelona. Barca won the second leg 2-1, but its first leg deficit proved decisive, ending its European campaign amid complaints over refereeing decisions. Meanwhile, Arsenal faces Sporting in a crucial second leg clash later tonight, while Bayern Munich and Real Madrid is set for a decisive second leg encounter. The quarter-final second legs will decide the final four, with semi-final places at stake as the tournament heads towards the final in Budapest. A global movement for health inspired by the Himalayas. After the break, we take you to the first ever International Wellness Day, a United Nations milestone sparked by Nepal's own initiative. Stay with us to see how the world is embracing inclusive wellness for all. You're watching NTV World and this is News Hour. Welcome back. Time now for the issue of the day. The first ever International Wellness Day is being observed with various programs and awareness activities worldwide. This is following a United Nations resolution initiated by Nepal. The observance is intended to serve as a global platform for education, cultural exchange and knowledge sharing, encouraging people to adopt accessible, inclusive and affordable wellness that support both individual and community health. Sabika Shrestha looks more into the day's significance.
In a global first rooted in Nepal's own proposal, the country on Wednesday celebrated the inaugural International Wellness Day, Arogya Divas, a landmark global observance endorsed by the United Nations General Assembly. The day was marked with synchronized programs across all 7 provinces and 753 local levels, highlighting Nepal's growing role in promoting holistic health and wellness worldwide. The celebrations began early in the morning with yoga and meditation sessions in major cities such as Kathmandu and Pokhara. In mountainous and rural regions, communities organized mindfulness-based activities reflecting Nepal's deep-rooted spiritual traditions. Government officials, tourism stakeholders, and health experts gathered at various events, stressing that wellness is no longer a luxury but a necessity and a powerful tool of soft diplomacy. At the heart of the observance was a broader understanding of health. Officials emphasized that true well-being extends beyond physical fitness to include mental, emotional, social, cultural, and ecological balance. It's an approach seen as vital in tackling non-communicable diseases and rising mental health concerns. A yoga instructor highlighted the growing relevance of such practices.
योगले हामीलाई शारीरिक स्वास्थ्य दिनुको साथसाथै मानसिक शान्ति दिन्छ, जसले गर्दा हाम्रो तनाव, एन्जाइटी, डिप्रेसन यी चीजहरुको पनि औषधिको काम गर्छ। यो त अहिले विज्ञानले पनि पुष्टि गरि नै सक्यो। हाम्रो योग शास्त्रमा त धेरै अगाडिदेखि भनिराखेको कुरा हो। जब हामी आफै लागेर राम्रो बनाउन थाल्छौं भने राम्रो नहुने कुरै केही छैन। संसारमा हामीले गरेर नहुने भन्ने केही पनि छैन। यो जे पनि गर्न चाहन्छौं, गर्न सक्छौं भन्ने विश्वास हामीलाई यही योगले दिलाउँछ।
Echoing this sentiment, a lady instructor said, Nepal's global recognition marks a turning point.
नेपाल एउटा आरोग्य प्रधान देश, नेपालले धेरै विश्वलाई दिन सक्छ भनेर यो आरोग्य दिवसको जीवन विज्ञानको पहलमा जुन 42 वटा देशले संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघमा पारित भएको यो आरोग्य दिवसलाई चाहिँ भव्यताका साथ मनाइयो, एकदमै राम्रो छ। त्यसैले आरोग्यलाई जोड्दाखेरि चाहिँ हाम्रो अझ पर्यटनदेखि लिएर हामी आफू पनि स्वयं स्वस्थ र बाहिरी मान्छेलाई पनि हामीले स्वस्थता प्रदान गर्छौं जस्तो लाग्छ, किनभने हाम्रो यहाँको परिवेशै त्यस्तो छ।
A young participant shared a personal transformation through yoga.
मैले सुरु गरेको खासै भन्दा 2.5 महिना भयो हैन। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि कस्तो नि अब यंगस्टरमा त धेरै रिस धेरै हुन्छ नि त। अलि रिस कन्ट्रोल हुने, अलि अघि पछि शान्त हुने, कुनै कुरामा चाहिँ के काम गरिरहेको छु या पढाइको कुरामा चाहिँ जुन चाहिँ फोकस बढ्ने, त्यसो चाहिँ चेन्जेस चाहिँ छ।
Experts highlighted multiple benefits of the initiative, including promoting preventive health care, improving mental resilience, and reinforcing the connection between human health and the environment. Economically, the observance is expected to strengthen Nepal's ambition to become a global wellness tourism destination. With wellness tourism currently contributing around 4% to national tourism revenue, stakeholders believe international recognition will attract longer stays and higher value visitors. As the first International Wellness Day concluded, Nepal sent a strong message to the world that wellness is not merely a concept, but an art of living rooted in its culture and now shared on a global stage. Sabika Shrestha with camera person Samir Thapa reporting for NTV World.
Founding president and spiritual guru of Jivan Vigyan Pratishthan, as well as spiritual guru, educator and executive life coach, LP Bhanu Sharma speaks about why the day is needed and the significance of Nepal, which proposed the idea of observing April 15 as International Wellness Day.
Nepal is the sole proposer, they not only led the proposal, it is the sole proposer of the International Wellness Day, and 142 countries endorsed this. 40 countries are the co-sponsors, including China and India, because this belongs to the whole of East now, this belongs to the whole of East. And I'm so happy that after the UN General Assembly adopted this resolution, the new government has come up with very clear policies and plans to execute this.
Today on this International Wellness Day, endorsed by the UN at the proposal of Nepal, we asked people what wellness means to them in our Public Pulse segment. Let's have a look.
आरोग्यता भनेको चाहिँ हामीले शारीरिक रूपमा मात्रै होइन, मानसिक रूपमा, सामाजिक रूपमा, पर्यावरणीय रूपमा, हरेक रूपमा चाहिँ नि सबैलाई स्वस्थ म मात्रै स्वस्थ होइन कि समाज नै स्वस्थ वातावरण नै स्वस्थ बनाउनलाई चाहिँ नि हामीले त्यसलाई चाहिँ नि स्वस्थ वेलनेस भनिन्छ। आजको युग हेर्दाखेरिमा चाहिँ नि हरेक मान्छे हरेक कुराले चाहिँ तनावमै जीवन बिताइरहेको छ। ऊ केही पाउनकै निम्ति सधैँ तनाव भइरहेको छ, सधैँ रोगकै पछि दौडिरहेको छ, रोगी नै बनाइरहेको छ।
आरोग्य भन्नाले पूर्ण स्वास्थ्य बुझ्छु म। पूर्ण स्वास्थ्य भन्नाले हाम्रो पूर्ण स्वास्थ्यलाई नै स्वस्थ राख्नु हाम्रो एउटा उपाय हो। यो चाहिँ बिना योग सम्भव छैन जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई। त्यही भएर पूर्ण स्वस्थ भयो भने हामी मुक्ति पाउँछौँ, मुक्तिपछि मोक्ष हुन्छ। त्यही भएर हामीलाई आरोग्य आवश्यक छ।
आरोग्य भने चाहिँ स्वास्थ्य नै हो जस्तो लाग्छ।
योग गर्दाखेरि विकृत मानसिकताबाट हामी टाढा हुँदो रहेछौँ अनि त्यसले गर्दाखेरि समाजमा सद्भाव सद्विचारहरू चाहिँ अलि राम्रैसँग विकसित हुँदै गएको हामीले पाएका छौँ।
आरोग्य भनेको जुन हामीले छोटोमा बुझ्दाखेरि चाहिँ आफ्नो स्वास्थ्यलाई मात्रै बुझ्छौँ, तर त्यति मात्रै होइन। हामीले शारीरिक आयाम होइन, मानसिक आयाम, भावनात्मक आयाम, अनि त्यसपछि सामाजिक आयाम, प्राकृतिक आयाम र हाम्रो आध्यात्मिक आयामलाई जोडेर अनि त्योबाट आएको निचोड सफलता नै आरोग्य हो।
आरोग्य भनेको शरीर स्वस्थ बनाउने, मनलाई शान्त बनाउने। अनि अब मैले पनि यहाँ आएर गरिरहेको छु। मलाई चाहिँ नि यो विधिबाट चाहिँ नि मन शान्त, डिप्रेसन पनि हल्का हुने, शरीर स्वस्थ हुने, साथीभाइहरूसँग कुराकानी सेयर हुन्छ, मलाई राम्रो लाग्छ।
That wraps up our issue of the day for the day. 7 years after the last count, Nepal begins its second ever massive economic census today. From local cooperatives to major industries, we explore how this data on 18 different sectors will define the roadmap for the country's growth. All details after the break in our cover story segment. You're watching News Hour here on NTV World. I am Sarah Sapsanamarai. Welcome back. Time now for our cover story of the day. With the main objective of measuring the national economy, Nepal has launched a nationwide economic survey starting today. The National Statistics Office estimates that around 1.6 million establishments will participate in the exercise. Aprila Kisiglama along with Kamala Aryal brings more.
The government of Nepal on Wednesday began a nationwide economic survey across all 77 districts, deploying around 4,500 trained surveyors and supervisors. The National Statistics Office says the survey will collect comprehensive data from 21 sectors, covering all types of permanent and temporary establishments involved in the production and distribution of goods and services, as well as broader economic activities. These include industries, businesses, non-governmental organizations, and public enterprises operating within the country. However, diplomatic missions, public administration, and regulatory bodies, security agencies, and routine household activities are not included in the enumeration. To improve efficiency, an e-census system has been introduced for large establishments, allowing them to submit their details online. The office estimates that around 100,000 institutions will participate through this digital platform. A daily reporting system has also been deployed to monitor the progress of the enumeration. The National Statistics Office states that the survey will support the effective implementation of government economic policies, help identify potential investment areas, and provide a clear understanding of the size and structure of the economy at federal, provincial, and local levels.
यो कार्यक्रम चाहिँ हाम्रा करिब 4000 गणकहरू हुनुहुन्छ
4000 गणकहरू चाहिँ सबै प्रतिष्ठानहरूमा उद्योग कल कारखाना व्यवसाय सङ्घ संस्थाहरूमा जानुहुन्छ सेवा प्रदायक पनि हुन्छ उत्पादन गर्ने संस्थाहरू सबैमा जानुहुन्छ सानो एउटा सामान्य भन्नुपर्दा तरकारी बेचेर बस्ने अर्थात् चिया पसलदेखि लिएर ठुलो बिग हाउससम्म चाहिँ यो गणना हुन्छ आर्थिक क्रियाकलाप गर्ने भन्नाले के बुझिन्छ भने वस्तु तथा सेवाहरू उत्पादन गर्ने राज्यले नागरिकलाई दिने सेवाको लागि पनि हुन सक्छ अर्थात् वस्तुहरू उत्पादन गरेर फ्याक्ट्री उद्योग धन्दाहरूले उत्पादन गरेका सेवाहरू जस्तै शिक्षण संस्थाले शिक्षण पेसा दिन्छ जुन पढाउने काम गर्नुहुन्छ त्यो पनि एउटा उत्पादन हो राज्यको लागि त्यस्तो किसिमको सबै विवरणहरू सङ्कलन गर्ने हुन्छ र त्यसमा हामीले हाम्रा गणकहरू सबै ठाउँमा पुग्नुहुन्छ प्रतिष्ठानहरूमा खोजेर पुग्नुहुन्छ गाउँ टोल वडा सबै ठाउँमा पुगेर त्यो सङ्कलन गर्ने हो
It is stressed the economic survey is fundamental to national planning, warning that without reliable statistics, policies may not deliver the intended results. The previous economic census conducted in 2018 recorded more than 923,000 establishments and generated approximately 3.2 million jobs. For the current exercise, a toll-free helpline, 1178, has been launched to assist participants. Monitoring mechanisms have also been put in place with coordination committees formed at district and local levels under the leadership of chief district officers.
That wraps up our cover story of the day. On to other news. Nepal's Prime Minister Balendra Shah has held interactions with all House of Representatives members elected under the proportional representation system. During the program held at the office of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers in Singhadarbar, the members would share their concerned clusters, issues, challenges and solution measures. According to the Prime Minister's Secretariat, interaction program was aimed at holding direct consultations between the people's representatives and the executive to ensure effective policy making and implementation. Nepal government today launched a nationwide campaign on the registration of vital personal events aimed at strengthening individuals' legal identity and ensuring access to state-provided services. The week-long campaign is being implemented across all local levels, including ward offices throughout the country. Authorities say the initiative is aimed at increasing public awareness about the importance of registering personal life events such as births, deaths, marriages, divorces, and migration in the official civil registration system. They added that the campaign is intended to improve the coverage and accuracy of vital statistics while making it easier for citizens to obtain government services that depend on proper documentation. The program aims to promote timely registration of all vital personal events and to close gaps in legal identity documentation, particularly in remote and underserved communities. Nepali Congress has sought clarification from party leader Purna Bahadur Khadka, giving him 7 days to respond over alleged activities deemed contrary to party discipline. The decision was taken at a meeting of the party's disciplinary committee. Khadka, however, has rejected the move, calling the clarification ridiculous, baseless and meaningless, adding he would not respond. Meanwhile, the party's Central Working Committee has formed a talks team led by Arjun Narsingesi to engage with various political parties, both inside and outside Parliament. Party President Gagan Thapa has been tasked with holding dialogue with former office bearers to strengthen unity. The party also announced the formation of a policy and research institute under Bishwa Prakash Sharma, an election bureau led by Pushpa Bhusal, and a central coordination mechanism under General Secretary Guru Raj Ghimire to improve organizational effectiveness. Bird flu outbreak has been confirmed at a poultry farm in Sunwal municipality of West Nawalparasi in western Nepal. The outbreak was detected in farm owned by farmer Indra Kumar Kesi after rapid tests conducted following the death of birds on April 6 indicated infection. The samples were later sent to Kathmandu's Central Veterinary Laboratory for confirmation. Officials said 210 chickens within a 2-meter radius of the infected farm were culled after procedural delays. According to veterinary officer Pratima Bister, the farm was identified as the epicenter after around 200 birds had already died, prompting sample testing and confirmation of the disease. Today, April 15, marks World Art Day 2026, celebrated under the theme A Garden of Expression, Cultivating Community Through Art. Honours are being paid globally to Leonardo da Vinci's legacy, with UNESCO and the International Association of Art leading initiatives that promote art as a tool for social cohesion. In Nepal, the day was highlighted by several exhibitions in the capital, showcasing cross-cultural collaborations between artists. New initiatives in Butwal and the Tarai focused on safeguarding endangered traditional skills and Mithila art. Globally, activities have shifted toward immersive technology and sustainability, featuring 3D sculpture workshops and open house digital galleries that allow worldwide participation. The festive fervour continues on the second day of the Nepali New Year 2083 Bikram Sambat across Nepal. Various vibrant festivals are being observed nationwide with great enthusiasm, including Sindur Jatra and the traditional tongue-piercing ritual. In the cultural city of Bhaktapur, streets turned into a sea of red as devotees celebrated Sindur Jatra with vermilion powder, while the tongue-piercing festival showcased the region's enduring cultural and spiritual traditions. Rojina Rai delves deeper.
In Madhyapur Thimi, Bhaktapur, the atmosphere turned deeply ceremonial during the annual tongue-piercing ritual, observed as the part of the Biscuit Jatra celebrations. Local resident Sujan Bag Shrestha continued the age-old tradition by piercing his tongue for the fourth time. Before the ritual began, priests performed sacred worship of various local deities, setting a solemn and a spiritual tone for the event. In the courtyard of Panch Ganesh temple, Shrestha's tongue was pierced with a 10-inch iron needle. After the piercing, he carried a sacred lamp known as the Mahadeep, an important part of the ritual procession. The procession then continued toward Baguto, where a key ritual moment took place, the removal of the needle at the Panch Ganesh temple. The ceremony was finally concluded at the Mahalakshmi temple, marking the formal completion of the tradition. Local believes that the successful completion of the ritual brings good fortune to the village, ensures a good harvest, and help prevent diseases. Meanwhile, the people of Madhyapur Thimi also celebrate the vibrant Sindur Jatra, one of the most colorful cultural festivals in the region. Held on the second day of the Nepali New Year, it marks the arrival of spring season and the renewal of life. The Jatra begins with a tradition procession carrying the idols of Siddhi Ganesh, Siddhi Kali and other local deities from the Balkumari temple. As the procession moves forward, the streets of Thimi turn a striking shade of red as thousands of devotees throw vermilion powder, sindoor, in the air and over one another in celebration. The festival features continuous procession of deities, accompanied by clouds of vermilion powder, rhythmic dhimi drum performances, and traditional dance. All procession finally converge in the open space in front of Balkumari temple for the concluding ceremony, which is why the festival is also known as the Balkumari Jatra. Rosina Rai reporting for NTV World.
International news coming up next. For now, a quick recap of the headlines. Commission formed to probe assets of political and bureaucratic elites in Nepal. Wealth accumulated since 2006 to be investigated. Nepal launches second economic survey, 18-sector data drive to map industries, services and institutions. First ever International Wellness Day being observed worldwide today. UN-backed Nepal initiative promotes inclusive and affordable wellness. Iranian military threatens shipping in the Gulf and Red Sea if the U.S. naval blockade continues. Trump says war in the Middle East close to over. India moves to reserve 33% of lower house seats for women. The bill also seeks major expansion of parliament with redrawn constituencies. And PSG and Atletico Madrid reach Champions League semis. Arsenal to face Sporting, Bayern to lock horns with Real in tonight's clashes. At least 4 persons, including 1 teacher and 3 students, were killed in a school shooting in Turkey's Kahramanmaraş province. The attack came just 1 day after a separate incident in which a gunman wounded 16 persons before taking his own life, raising fresh concerns over public safety. Provincial Governor Mukerrem Onluer said 20 others were injured in the latest shooting and are receiving treatment at nearby hospitals. Emergency services were swiftly deployed to the scene, and security forces have cordoned off the area as investigations continue. Officials have not yet disclosed details about the suspect or motive, but authorities have launched a full-scale probe into both incidents. The back-to-back attacks have heightened alarm among residents and prompted calls for stricter security measures in schools and public spaces. U.S. President Donald Trump has said the war with Iran is very close to being over during an interview with Fox Business's Mornings with Maria program. The comments come after Trump said that peace talks with Iran could resume later this week, while Israel and Lebanon agreed to launch direct negotiations.
I had to divert, because if I didn't do that, right now you would have Iran with a nuclear weapon. And if they had a nuclear weapon, you would be calling everybody over there, sir. I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over. You know what? If I pulled up stakes right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild that country. And we're not finished. We'll see what happens. I think they want to make a deal very badly.
Japan's stock market ended higher today with the Nikkei 225 closing in positive territory as investors reacted to comments from U.S. President suggesting that negotiations with Iran would resume. Market sentiment across Asia improved broadly, with South Korea also posting strong gains amid easing geopolitical concerns and renewed hopes of diplomatic engagement between Washington and Tehran. In Japan, the Nikkei rose on expectations that a potential de-escalation in tensions could ease pressure on energy prices and global inflation. Analysts, however, said the rally reflected renewed risk appetite after recent volatility linked to Middle East developments. In South Korea, the Kospi surged as investors followed regional gains, with technology and export-driven stocks leading advances. Analysts, however, caution that markets remain sensitive to any breakdown in talks, with volatility likely to persist as geopolitical uncertainty continues. Now, head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi, has said during a press conference in Seoul that all indicators pointed to a very serious increase in North Korea's capabilities in nuclear weapons production. Grossi added that the country's arsenal was estimated to consist of a few dozen warheads.
In our periodic assessments, we have been able to confirm that there is a rapid increase in the operation of the Yongbyon 5 megawatt reactor. In terms of the production increase, is not easy to calculate without being there, but we consider looking at the external features of the facility that there will be a significant increase in the enrichment capacity in DPRK.
After announcing that an EU-developed age verification application is ready to go, European Union Chief Ursula von der Leyen has said that the application respects the highest privacy standards in the world, adding that users cannot be tracked. Brussels has been under pressure to come up with more stringent measures to safeguard children online, as several EU capitals move ahead with plans to ban social media under a certain age.
So this app will allow users to prove their age when accessing online platforms, just like shops ask for proof of age for people buying alcoholic beverages in a shop. First, it is user-friendly. You download the app, you set it up with your passport or your ID card. You then prove your age when accessing online services. Second, it respects the highest privacy standards in the world. Users will prove their age without revealing any other personal information. Put simply, it's completely anonymous. Users cannot be tracked.
And moving on, families across Sri Lanka marked the Sinhala and Tamil New Year with traditional rituals and auspicious customs, celebrating a period of renewal and cultural heritage. The observances, guided by traditional astrological timings, brought communities together through shared rituals, festive meals and customary practices. They highlighted unity and continuity of tradition. A large gathering, including public representatives, government officials and devotees, also participated in ceremonies held to invoke good health, prosperity and well-being for the year ahead. The time-honored festival continues to strengthen family bonds and reinforce the country's cultural identity, remaining one of Sri Lanka's most significant annual celebrations. Spain's Zoo Aquarium de Madrid has reported the birth of a male Bornean orangutan, a development described as a boost to efforts to conserve the critically endangered species. The infant was born to female orangutan Surya at the zoo, with officials confirming that both mother and newborn are in good condition under close veterinary supervision. Zoo authorities said the birth contributes to international conservation breeding programs aimed at protecting the species, which continues to face severe threats from habitat loss and declining wild populations. The newborn's arrival is being viewed as part of ongoing efforts by accredited zoological institutions to support long-term survival and genetic diversity of Bornean orangutans. Business updates lined up next after this short break. Stay with us.
Humanoid robots capable of boxing, dancing, and playing musical instruments have been showcased at a major AI and robotics expo in Hong Kong, highlighting rapid advances in automation technology. Chinese robotics firm Unity Robotics presented 4 different robot models designed to perform a wide range of real-world tasks. The robots demonstrated abilities such as guiding visitors in exhibition spaces and responding to emergency scenarios, including fire safety operations. A company representative said one model is equipped with a functional fire hose capable of spraying water, underlining its potential use in hazardous environments. The showcase reflects China's growing investment in robotics and artificial intelligence, sectors increasingly seen as key to future industries and urban services worldwide. The 139th China Import and Export Fair has opened in Guangzhou, reaching record sale in both size and participation. Organizers say the event spans 1.55 million square meters, with more than 75,000 booths and over 32,000 companies taking part. The fair includes 179 exhibition zones with new sections highlighting emerging industries such as smart wearables, consumer drones, and modular housing. Running from April April 15 to May 5, the event is divided into 3 phases focused on advanced manufacturing, home living, and lifestyle products. First launched in 1957, the Canton Fair in China's longest-running international trade event is widely seen as a key indicator of the country's foreign trade performance. The Central Bank of Venezuela and major financial institutions in Caracas are resuming broader operations after the United States lifted sanctions on the country's public banking system. The move by the U.S. Treasury allowed state-run banks to reconnect with the international financial network. Institutions such as Banco de Venezuela and Banco del Tesoro can now legally conduct transactions in U.S. dollars. The decision restores access to global financial markets, enabling transfers, payments, and foreign exchange activities that were previously restricted. The easing of sanctions marks a significant shift after years of economic isolation, offering potential relief to Venezuela's struggling economy. Argentina recorded monthly inflation of 3.4% in March, marking its highest level in the past year, according to official data. The increase highlights ongoing economic volatility in a country that has long struggled with high inflation. Government officials attributed the rise largely to a global surge in fuel prices linked to the conflict in the Middle East. Higher energy costs have pushed up transportation and consumer prices, adding pressure on households. Argentina has one of the world's highest inflation rates, and the latest figures underscore the continued challenges facing its economic recovery.
Time now for the sports update. Two tightly contested matches in the ongoing Men's Prime Minister Cup today produced narrow finishes. In Janakpur, Trivan Army Club chased down a modest target of 139 set by Lumini Province, finishing on 141 for the loss of 9 wickets in 25.2 overs. Despite losing wickets regularly, Army held its nerve in the closing stages to complete a dramatic 1-wicket victory with 148 balls remaining. In Birganj, Madhya Province overcame Nepal Police Club by 4 wickets, successfully chasing 131 in 24.1 overs. Police was restricted to 130 before Madhya sealed the result with a composed batting effort. The Nepali women cricket team has left for Rwanda to play the ICC Women Challenge Trophy Championship. Cricket Association of Nepal bid farewell to the team, wishing them success. The championship, to be held from April 18 to 1st of May, will see participation from Nepal, USA, Vanuatu and Italy, along with their host Rwanda. The Nepali team, led by Captain Indu Varma, is scheduled to play its first match against the US on 18th of April. The second match is slated against Italy a day later, while the third match against Rwanda has been scheduled for 22nd of April. Nepal will play against Vanuatu on the 24th, against the United States on 26th, against Rwanda on 28th, against Vanuatu on 30th again, and against Italy on the 1st of May. The team that secures a top position in the competition, which will be conducted on the basis of a double round-robin league, will be declared the winner. Time now for the weather updates, first from across Nepal and then the world. Before wrapping up, here's a look into the top stories once again. Commission formed to probe assets of political and bureaucratic elites in Nepal to investigate wealth accumulated since 2006. Nepal launches second economic survey, 18-sector data drive to map industries, services and institutions. First ever International Wellness Day being observed worldwide today. UN-backed Nepal initiative promotes inclusive and affordable wellness. Iranian military threatens shipping in the Gulf and Red Sea if the US naval blockade continues. Trump says war in the Middle East close to over. India moves to reserve 33% of lower house seats for women. Bill also seeks major expansion of parliament with redrawn constituencies. And PSG and Atletico Madrid reach Champions League semis. Arsenal to face Sporting, Bayern to lock horns with Real in tonight's clashes. That brings us to the end of this edition of News Hour here on NTV World. As always, do join us through our social media pages and also visit our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I am Sarah Sapsanamarai. Thanks for staying with us. Good night.